What's up, my good people of the internet? Happy to be here with you, hanging out where sports truly meets that thing called life. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we are here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. On today's broadcast, we are back in the Wake Up Call studios. Yesterday, we were on the road. We spent the weekend in Philadelphia as well as in the Poconos. Got to broadcast live with DT and Murphy from the Poconos yesterday and make some history in our first broadcast from that area of Pennsylvania. And now we're back here with you in Central New York inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Coming up on today's show, picture-in-picture in just a moment with me, we're going to have Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan joining me on the heels of being named the new head coach of the CNS Northstars football program. Very excited to talk with him as this just happened a few hours back, and now we have the opportunity to speak with him about the move. He spent the last 2 seasons at Bishop Ludden running their football program, and we'll have him on the show momentarily. Then coming up in hour number 2 of the broadcast, we're going to have Tay Baker in an all-new Bobcat Buzz in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Tay, the women's basketball head coach, will be joining me in season to speak on the goings-on of the program as they step forward and have just a few more games before they head into the Vaden Cup, which will have Bryant and Stratton pitted against other Bryant and Stratton schools around the state of New York. And we'll round things out with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. So with all of that being stated here this morning, my first guest, as I stated, Jim Ryan, here with me picture-in-picture right after getting the news that he is the new CNS Northstars head football coach. Jim, how we doing?
I'm doing great this morning. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to big things to come in the future for the North Star program.
Yeah, and Jim, I mean, I mentioned here in the intro that you spent the last couple seasons at Bishop Ludden leading their program. What can you say about that experience you had over at Ludden?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I said to the folks at Syracuse.com last night, that place is an incredible school, great people, great community. It was a difficult choice to walk away, from that program. We worked really hard as a staff and to build that program and to kind of shape it to our vision. Great coaches over there, great kids. I got nothing but love for that school, for that program. And then, the SAS folks, they combined with us and, also terrific people over there as well. So, it helped shape, I think, things that come is, you don't take anything for granted. We had to kind of scratch and claw for everything we got over there as far as funding. And, it's a small school. So, we worked hard to get kids out to play. And, we had 32 to 36 on our roster pretty consistently throughout the last 2 years, which is pretty nice for a Class C school. So for me, I just don't take anything for granted. And this opportunity that was presented to me is great. I feel certainly blessed to be in this position, and I'm just excited to get to work.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, obviously different experience at Ludden than you're going to have at CNS. What attracted you to CNS? Why this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Some people who were kind of in my inner circle as I was kind of sorting all this out, they said to me from the outside, looking in, you'd be crazy not to take the job. And, I felt that way on the initially, kind of superficially on the first level of, it's unbelievable. Look at the facilities, great players, tons of success. But then, you really start thinking about it. And to me, it's the premier program in the section. I mean, it's got everything that you need from a coaching standpoint, a ton of support from the administration, ton of support from the community, and facilities are unmatched in our area for sure. So, I mean, to me, that ultimately kind of pushed me over the top, and, I was ready to take the plunge and move full steam ahead, as they say.
On the other side of that, knowing why you chose it, why do you think CNS chose you? What did they say? Why do you think it fit for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think, they were looking, just for a different style of leadership. I think uh, Tim Benarski and I philosophically aligned in some ways, and I think they saw an authentic person. What you see is what you get. I'm not going to change as I'm talking to you, as I'd be talking to a parent or talking to a student. I care about people. Certainly care about the kids, and I want to build football. Football is great here. Everybody knows that football. The staff has done a tremendous job building this program. So football, we got great players. I'm not worried about that stuff. But those other things that are so important, I think, to building foundations to a program, and just being great inside the classroom. I just want to be a champion in all we do. Obviously, the football stuff is great, but I want us to have a championship attitude inside the school, have a championship attitude when our kids are in the community, represent themselves, their families the right way, and the right way is the North Star way. And so those are the things we're going to try to preach moving ahead. And, kind of the rest of the stuff, the football stuff is going to take care of itself if we're doing those things and doing those things at a high level.
Here with Jim Ryan on the heels of him taking over the job for the CNS Northstars for the football program as their head coach. You said, we're going to do things the right way. What are some of those pillars that you look at? I know you talked about, there's the quality of the player, and there's aligning that you have with Tim Bednarski. There's these things happening in the background. What is the foundation for a Jim Ryan program? What are we looking at?
Yeah, and I mean, I just kind of hit on some of those things. Is building that championship attitude on championship on the field, the classroom, the community. But kind of bringing this mindset, this acronym. I talked a little bit about accountability, success, and trust, and those things are all important to us. The brotherhood of football in general. Something that's unmatched. Anyone who's played it, anyone who's been part of it, coached it, people know that's different. The family atmosphere. We want to make this a big family. Have our arms wide open and wrap it around the community, wrap it around the school. You're going to have tough decisions to make as a family. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have all those things. But at the end of the day, we all have one mission, and we're all part of that same group. So that's big. And accountability, I want our players to hold the coaches accountable. I want us, obviously, to hold the players accountable as well. And then the success kind of goes to that championship culture. We want to be successful in everything we do. We want to win in the weight room. We want to win in the classroom. We want to win in the community. And obviously, we want to win on the football field. And then trust, that's built over time. And I told, the kids last night when I had a chance to address them, I don't expect them to trust me the moment I walk in that room. That's something I got to work with them over these next few months, and vice versa. And so that's a big component of it. So that be fast mentality, that championship culture, I would say those are our pillars kind of looking ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a program that's seen so much success. There's also, with that success, they're in the public eye a lot. This is a program where if something happens, it's right there, it's front and center. What do you think about that piece of it, the side of the fact that, you are taking over a program that there is going to be a critical eye? There has been history. There's guys that have gone on to play Division I A FBS football. What are your thoughts on that piece of it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, from a coaching side, it's exciting. I love that aspect. I think it's important because, one, it shows that people care about the program. It shows that, you have the community's watching. So I just keep going back. If we're good with those foundations that we were just speaking about, things are gonna continue to do and happen in the right way. And it's something that you got to embrace. It's going to be a challenge at times for sure. There's going to be some things that maybe I haven't experienced yet as a coach, even though I've been doing it for a while. But you got great support from the administration. Hopefully, most of the current coaches are going to be returning. And so, there's a lot of people to lean on. There's a lot of experience, great coaches within that program. And so, I'm going to use all the resources I can to try to be the best we can.
Do you have any connection to Dave Klein? Has there been interaction with the former coach? Like you said, you hope that those assistant coaches stay on. So do you have a bond with him or have had conversations with him?
Yeah, I mean, I know Dave, great guy, terrific coach. And, he's, shot me a message, wished me the best of luck and, anything he could do to help, and that's terrific. And I appreciate, his willingness to help and, advise or answer any questions I might have, and really kind of him to reach out and do so. So yeah, I mean, I think, on that level, that would be great. But yeah, I mean, we got great resources right now with the coaches in place, and again, the administration. I can't tell you that the support I feel from Tim and Dan as a superintendent. It's really awesome, and it's great, and it's a good feeling to have as a head coach.
Yeah, and as we step forward into this, I mean, there's a lot of excitement that goes along with this, and there's that piece of it of getting to know who you are and what you're all about, in that CNS community. How
Mhm.
do you want to welcome the families? I know you said, it's going to take time with the student athletes. Some might come faster than others. Is there something that, is planned or that you'd like to plan to interact with families to, kind of show who you are before you jump on the practice field? Is there some type of exchange you'd like to have so that you could get your message across to them?
Yeah, I think Tim and I we're working on that, or working towards something where it could be a lack of a better phrase, meet and greet, if you will, something along those lines. But more just a chance to say hello, say who I am, kind of where I came from, my background a little bit, and my family, and I'm a family guy, and it's important to me. And I know it's important to several guys on the staff. And yeah, I mean, just being able to talk. And like I said, Dan, what you see is what you get. I'm not going to be any different here on the call with you as I would be in front of a room full of parents. I think I'm a pretty genuine person, and that cares about people.
Yeah, and obviously, and you and I were talking a little bit off the air about this, that being genuine and being the same everywhere, that gets you a lot farther than cutting corners. I mean, you might win in certain things, but in the game of life, I feel like you win when that genuineness comes through, and you are who you say you are. Who have been some of the people that have helped to guide you into who you've chosen to become? Who are some of those mentors, the ones that you lean on? And I see you smiling now, so you must have somebody in mind.
Well, I mean, I rattled off this list, and this was just an organic conversation. I can go down the list of people who I'm eternally grateful for. I mean, football is the greatest game. I'll die on that hill. I'll argue all day with that. And it's the greatest game. And I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for that game. It provided access for me to get into college. And then from there, from the coaching side of it, life lessons, hard life lessons at times. And so I can go right down the list from, Paul Vosberg, who's still head coach at St. John Fisher College, now university, giving me an opportunity to play for him many, many years ago. And, right through to, my first job at Cato Meridian to open those doors to, Terry Dow, who was at Morrisville State, hired me on my first college position, which then led me to Hobart College, and Mike Craig and Kevin DeWall, right down the list to, the administration at Bishop Ludden believing in me, Gallagher Driscoll, Michael McCullough, and so every person, I have in my Rolodex, and I'm eternally grateful to all those people. But more on a personal level, my family, I'm the youngest of six. One of my older sisters, Kathy, she's the reason I got into coaching. And so, I looked up to her. She was a Division I athlete, Division I college coach, I went on recruiting trips with her when I was a young teenager, so I got exposed to a lot of that stuff early on.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's a big role model for me.
You know, and I appreciate, you know, that look through your history and what you have for this. I mean, it seems like you're excited. It seems like, I mean, I see that full blue on the other side here. So, you know, ready for this opportunity and seeing that CNS. And, you know, I mean, this, like we were talking about, from facilities to leadership. I've gotten to know Tim Bednarski, the athletics director there, for many years. So there's so many things, leadership wise, facility wise, the level of talent that you have there, and the things that you've been able to do. When you walk into this, you want to put your personal touch on it. I know we've spoken about a lot of different things. How do you immediately do that? How in your opinion do you immediately have that, like, Jim Ryan stamp on the program?
Yeah, and I can't speak about anything that happened before me. I
Yeah.
wasn't there. I wasn't in those locker rooms. But I can tell you this: we're gonna outwork people. We're gonna outwork people on the field as players, as a coaching staff. And I know I got a bunch of football junkies that are current coaches there, so they love the game. We're just gonna fine tune some things to make sure we're outworking everybody with that kind of roll up your sleeve mentality, and find ways to get back to where the program was a couple years ago as far as winning those championships, to chasing that white whale, and that white whale is that state championship. And so that workman-like attitude, we're gonna be aggressive on offense. We're going to be aggressive on defense. Special teams are very, very, very important to me. The old coaching cliche, if you will, we got to be great in all three facets, but we're going to outwork people. We're going to play fast, and we're going to be aggressive on both sides of the ball.
You kept talking about playing fast. That's something you brought up repeatedly. How are we going to see that implemented? I don't want you to give away the playbook, but I want you to give me something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more so, defensively. Looking at the defense side of the ball, I want us to be aggressive. I don't want us to sit back. I mean, there's times where we don't have to be aggressive, obviously, but I want to make sure we're putting pressure on teams to execute. And then offensively, we want to be multiple. Something I believe in, philosophically, and I think Coach G has done a great job with that over the past several seasons of being pretty balanced on the offense. But we're going to be aggressive. We're going to I don't love to punt the ball, but I understand you got to punt it at sometimes. But I want to be aggressive. I want to put pressure on teams to make plays, and to make sure they got their best out there. While we're on the field on both sides of the ball, and I feel that's kind of a little bit of my mentality, a little bit. So, like I said, I don't want to give everything away, but that's kind of where I'm thinking initially.
Well, it likens to another shade of blue, Dan Campbell with the Detroit Lions. Are we thinking about going for it on fourth down? Are we thinking about not kicking it as much, but maybe saying get out there and let's go for two? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I always like to take points when we can get them. From the sounds of it, and again, just getting to know the kids, it seems like we got someone who can kick the ball pretty well. So that at the high school level, that's a great weapon to have. Consistency, always guarantee you're getting a point every single time you score, and having that opportunity to kick field goals, I think that's great. But I'm definitely not a coach. You're probably going to have to talk me out of it if it's 4th and 5 and we're on our 40 or even 45, to punt the ball. So, I want to be aggressive, and I want to be, like I said, I want to be aggressive on both sides of the ball. But that third phase, and I think it gets looked over a bunch, special teams, and we got to be solid at that. And some things hopefully we can do a little differently there as well.
When you look at the roster and what you have, did this have any play into your decision, kind of seeing what was already in the stable, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, I know there's great football players here. I know there's a great football culture here. So I knew that stuff was going to kind of take care of itself. But the opportunity to, there's whatever, there's 8, 9, 100 kids graduating class, whatever the case is. There's a lot of opportunity to pull kids into the program that maybe never thought about playing, to get involved, in those youth levels, to try to bring kids along and making sure they're staying in our program all the way through middle school, JV, and then in the varsity. So those things are important, and it's great to have multiple levels that are full of kids that love football and want to be part of the North Star program.
Before I let you go, here with Jim Ryan, new CNS Northstars head football coach, we do something here on Wake Up Call called Rapid Fire. It gives us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. You also get to put me on the hot seat. Take full advantage of it, Coach, because I don't know any other media outlet that's going to turn the mic on themselves. So you and I are going to have a few questions. You get to start. You can ask me anything in the world. We can go football, music, movies, literally anything we want. You get to go first. What do you got?
All right, perfect. Favorite musician?
Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. I would say favorite musician. I would have to say, man, I like so many different kinds of music. I mean, I've worked on music most of my life. I've sang and I've written. So
Yeah.
if I was in the studio and I could record with somebody, it would probably be uh, Phil Collins would be one.
Okay.
Journey, I would
All
probably
right.
say Journey that I'd want to sit down and record with, and maybe just because I like the fact that he's kind of fully himself and he's been able to develop into different things, I'd probably do a recording with Justin Timberlake.
Oh,
So
okay.
I really respect the fact that he's been able to go to so many different worlds in music, and I think that he is one of the best kind of creators out there, I guess I would say right now. So, and I love
Okay.
creativity. I like when people sound different. They just have their own style, and
Mhm.
I think working with him, then I can work with Timberland on the beats. So I think it would be all around a good move for me.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
right.
All good choices.
Let me see, Jim. Let me see what I got for you. What would be the first thing that okay, when you come home, you come into the house, you said you're a family man. Tell me the first three things that you do when you come in the house.
Well, my wife, if she's in the room, she'd be laughing at this because she yells at me every single day. I come in, and obviously the kids are, if they're here, or they might not be because they're involved with things. Come say hi to everybody. But I got a chair that I love to throw my coat on instead of hanging it up, so she gets a little mad at me for that. But usually just come in, say hello to everybody. Pretty good at hanging up my keys when I walk in the door, and
Okay.
and give everybody a hug and a kiss if they're around. And but yeah, I'll definitely. There's one chair that's my dedicated. Toss my coat in the chair, and that's my other coat rack. My wife says so. Um, but
Okay.
but yeah, those are probably the first few things that I do when I walk in.
Toss the coat, put the keys up, say hi, and
Yeah,
give everybody a kiss. Hello. All right. I like
yeah.
that. What's your next one for me?
Oh boy, are you a CNS graduate?
I am not. So my dad. It's funny that you come from Ludden. My dad went to CBA. My mom went to Grimes, and so I ended up going to CBA. And
Mhm.
but my cousins have gone to CNS. So Sammy and Franny, two of the best lacrosse. And I'm not saying this family wise. I'm saying this because they are, and it's been shown that way. Two of the best lacrosse players to come through the state of New York, and Franny and I, she's like a little sister to me because we got really. I got to know Sam. We didn't really see each other a lot growing up, and then I got to know her when she was at CNS. And then Franny and I are like, I mean, people just come up to me. They're like, "Is that your sister?" And I'm like, yeah, it's easier to describe her that way. So through them, I have North Star Tortora 21 clothes, And it's funny because that's my number and obviously my last name, but it's also Franny's favorite number. So when I wear it, it looks like mine, but it's hers. So
Hmm.
yeah, we through her, I've been to I've been able to experience CNS a little bit more, and really through a lot of the student athletes and a lot of those guys that are on the football program, I've gotten to experience it, and they've treated me like family. I mean, I think Tim can say that he's always treated me like family from day one. So even though I didn't go there, I definitely feel welcome when I come over.
Awesome.
So my next one for you, Jim. What is one piece of advice you've received in your life that you're going to take onto this football field at CNS? One thing that just rings true today.
Um, the very first thing that popped in my head is I'd probably say, don't change who you are. Be you, be your authentic self, because people will rally around that.
Yeah.
It might not work for everybody. Your style might not work for everybody, but if you're trying to be somebody you're not, then it's definitely not going to work. I think just being your authentic self and not trying to be someone you're not.
One of the best pieces of advice that I can hear this morning, and I think anybody could hear. Jim, you get the final word before I let you go. What do you want the community to know? We've talked about a lot of different things. We've talked about your road. We've talked about why you think CNS said yes to you, why you said yes to CNS. What do you want the North Star community to know as we step forward? This is a time capsule thing. You and I are going to look back on this years from now. So, what do you want everybody to know?
I want everybody to know that I'm excited to be part of that community. I'm excited to see what we can do as a program outside of the football field. I know what we're going to do when we're on the field when it's football time, but I'm excited about how we can intertwine and be better citizens and better people within that community. And then lastly, we got an awesome facility, and I want to see that thing packed on Friday nights. And I don't want the community and the kids and the students to get complacent thinking we're just going to win or whatever the case is. Let's get out there. Let's fill those stands. Let's show these kids support. And as you know, Friday Night Lights, it's a community event. It's a social event. So come out and let's have fun doing it. And, let's show some North Star pride and pack those stands and let's get this thing rolling.
Very quick note here. Fran Brown, the new head coach at Syracuse, there's been something for many, many years that I've pushed, which is recruiting the state of New York and not forgetting about the kids of all sports in central and upstate New York. Have you heard from Fran? Would you like to build that connection? What can you say about the school down the road and the hopes that they will start recruiting CNS?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't personally met Fran. I had an opportunity probably a month and a half ago to meet his high school relations person, Coach Thomas. And I can tell you one thing: I love the mentality of that program and that staff right now. They're digging in deep. They're protecting their home base. They're building the community. They're visiting schools. They're making connections with the local coaches. And I think that's spot on. I think that's huge. I think that's been missing for the past several years. And I know he's a big part of that. And he's the driving force of getting those coaches out and visiting those schools. From my understanding, Syracuse has been in to CNS a couple times to visit with one kid at least, if not others. So that's great, and we want them to recruit local. We got a bunch of diamonds in the rough throughout Central New York as well as the rest of the state. And there's been some misses over the years from the university, in my opinion, where kids have gone on and had all conference years at other places. And I hope they stay and protect this home base and find kids that work for them.
That message is the message I have been pushing for many years. You said it in such a great way, and I hope that everything that you said comes to fruition, that they get opportunities, we protect home base, and that we get to see these kids playing in the Dome after hopefully playing in some sectional action, some state action for you in the Dome. I know that you're working towards. So Jim Ryan, new CNS Northstars head football coach. Jim, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the job. Please give my best to your family, and I look forward to talking with you and following you on this journey.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan, for everything. Go Stars.
Take care. That coming from Jim Ryan here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Joining us literally right on the heels of getting the job with the CNS Northstars, and appreciate him for being there. There was some audio, I think, that I heard from someone here. There was some audio issue that we had. So if there was anything on the side of Facebook, I think it was, we will have everything carried on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So no worries on that front. And, of course, big thanks to Jim Ryan for being a part of the show. I know we got some questions in the feed here that we addressed here. He's hoping that the assistant coaches on the staff are staying on. And you heard what he had to say about Fran Brown. He hasn't spoken with Fran personally yet. He has heard that they've been around the school looking at least a couple of the guys recently here, Fran's staff, looking at a couple of the guys at CNS, and that he met Coach Thomas on Fran Brown's staff, the high school relations person for Syracuse football, and he loves what they're doing in the community, and he loves the fact that they're trying to protect home base and take care of that. So, great stuff. Music to my ears. You all know, those of you that have listened to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for many years, you know where I stand on all of this. You know how I am. You know what my hopes are for this program, and I've been very clear about the fact that the state of New York has talented student athletes, talented students in general, and all throughout central and upstate New York and throughout the state of New York, and that these, student athletes, they've gone to other places. They've gone to Buffalo. They've gotten the love from Rutgers, from UConn, from BC, from Pitt, from Alabama. These are student athletes that have not felt the connection to their school down the road, and one of the big reasons why I think a change was needed, albeit I have a great relationship with Dino Babers, a reason why I thought a change was needed was because we were 8 years in, and maybe some inroads were trying to be made now, but there had been no real time spent that it felt like, and I'm speaking from the outside looking in, but it didn't feel like there was a love for the community, time spent on the community. And that's something that I bang the drum home about. Rob Drummond and I have talked about for over a decade, is recruiting locally, taking care of your 5 to 6 hour radius and making sure that those kids don't go elsewhere. I'm not saying you got to take and make an entire roster of the state of New York kids. I've never said that. That is a misconception. I've said if you got 100 spots on your team, you can't take 3. You can't find 3 people in the state of New York. And if there's not 3 people in the state of New York, why play football? You know what I mean? So to me, that was to kind of check people and say, you really think that there's not 3 players that have talent? And we know that that's the case. There's been over 40 schools that went to visit Christian Brothers Academy within these last few months. We know that CNS has sent guys. We know that CBA has sent guys. We know that West Jenny has sent guys. We know that the Southern Tier, for goodness sakes, Union Endicott brought Chandler Jones and Arthur Jones, and look at where they came to Syracuse. So when you say there's no talent in Binghamton, there's no talent in Cortland, there's no talent in Syracuse and East Syracuse, North Syracuse and Watertown and the Adirondacks and so on and so forth, there's no talent in Rochester, that is just poor, ignorant, naive statement making. There is talent. And this whole notion of you got to get guys from Florida, you got to get guys from Georgia, you got to get guys from Texas, everybody's trying to do that. So do you want to be like everybody else? Or do you want to take care of home base and then sprinkle in what you need to sprinkle in, do what you need to do? I want to get the best people in anywhere in the world, right? The best people, not just the best student athletes, the best people, whether they're in Canada, whether they're in California, wherever they may be. All I've ever said is to not let someone in your backyard go without giving them as much love as possible. Hey, if they want to go at the end of the day, then that's their choice. But so many of these kids have gone that haven't received the love, that have told me personally, they don't call me, they don't offer me, it's been radio silence, I'm not going there. And they're pissed. They're pissed. And they go to schools like Boston College and they cannot wait to play Syracuse because they want to beat Syracuse because they want to show Syracuse what they didn't recruit. And that's not what I want for this community. I don't want kids that grew up with an S on their chest turning around and hating the school and then wanting to play against them and beat them. This community should have, those kids getting opportunities at Syracuse. So hearing that from Fran is good to hear. Alan said, glad to hear SU staff out there building SU brand at home. Absolutely. Very good. So good to hear news like that. Good to hear those positives. Great to see CNS with their leadership, because I know that there's been kind of a question mark since Dave Klein decided to step away. Dave and I have a fantastic relationship. We've started off a relationship here with Jim Ryan. I'm excited for that. And, the world of sports is it's a beautiful world, and it's also a tough world when you know that coaches are not in certain places forever, right? Some coaches get fired, some coaches retire, some coaches resign, some coaches move on, take a job somewhere else. And when you see these changes, it's hard because you're excited to build relationships, and then you're excited to keep relationships. And I've had the blessing, by the grace of God, to meet so many wonderful people and have so many wonderful memories with those people that I really value people far beyond wins and losses. I've always been that way. I don't talk to someone because they won a lot of games. I talk to somebody because I like the content of their character. If their character is not good and they're not nice people and they're not kind and they don't appreciate opportunities, I don't talk to them. I'll give people chance after chance, but I don't want to talk to somebody who's got an ego. I don't want to talk to somebody who doesn't respect and appreciate the opportunities they've been given. I don't want to talk to somebody that's just a mean person. I don't care if they win every game. I want to talk to the people in this community that have good character, that work their tails off, and that really give everything that they can, and they do things with morals and values. I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of God. Seeing morals and values and faith and speaking about God and making it a family, not just saying it's family, but actually being a family, those are things that hold a lot of weight with me. Accountability. Some people run from that. I don't. I would not be a business owner of over 11 years if I wasn't accountable, responsible, somebody who is rational and at the same time has dreams that maybe people can't see. There's a lot of things that attract me to a coach in their vision and their mission. And I feel good about Jim. So I'm excited. And it's bittersweet because of my relationship with Dave. It's bittersweet, because in your head, things will change, but then you never want them to. It's like a TV show you never want to see go off the air. And at the same time, with Jim coming in and getting to talk with him today, I like the things that he's saying. I'm excited to see the things he's saying put into action. I'm excited to see what this looks like. And I'm very grateful that Tim Bednarski, the athletics director at CNS, I saw the news that Jim got the job, and Tim and I spoke, and everything got set up, and Jim was on the show this morning. And Jim was extremely receptive pretty much almost immediately. And, from Tim and Jim just being so quick to get back in touch, get on the show, do it on the heels of him getting the job. That to me is wonderful, and I appreciate that very much so. What did Greg say? I will also say that New York football is certainly number 3 when you compare football recruits to the kids that come out of the northeast states of PA and New Jersey. Well, that's because of what we've seen. That's because of what maybe's been recruited. There's kids in New York, and I'm not here to compare and contrast. This state's better than this state. This state doesn't. I'm not here to do that. All I have ever said is that the state of New York has talented student athletes, not just in football. They've had them in basketball. They've played in the Dome. They've had them in basketball, and they've played all over. They've had student athletes in basketball. They've had student athletes in soccer. They've had student athletes in lacrosse. They have championship people coming through this community. We have volleyball programs that are winning sectional championships. We have softball programs that have been hot and doing great things. We have baseball talent that's come through. There are so many things, cross country, track and field. There's so many things to say about the people that have been in this community. And all I ever ask is that we fine-tooth comb this community before you let somebody come in and steal somebody away, that you do your homework, you do your due diligence, and you do your best to keep home at home. Because other states do that. You think the state of Florida, with everybody wanting to go down to Florida, you think the state of Florida doesn't go out there and take care of their kids? You think that that's not a thing? That's absolutely a thing. So to me, it's like Florida still recruits Florida. Georgia still recruits Georgia. Wyoming recruits Wyoming. Idaho recruits Idaho. You know, you have to take care of your radius, because your radius is a lot of things. Okay? Those families are when driving. You got to think of the big picture, right? Talented student athlete, good in the classroom, good on the field, good on the court, good in the pool, good on the track of life. So you get a good student athlete. You get their family. You get the family within driving distance that can come see the game. You get people that aren't going to walk out on you when you're losing because it's your family. When Syracuse had that Boca Bowl where they didn't have some of their staff, they didn't have their head coach, they didn't have some of their players, and the game was awful, and I was at the game. Those families were there the entire game, and they were there to greet their sons when they came off the field. And they stayed later and they talked to each other. And they stayed later and they talked to the new coaching staff. And they stayed later and talked to the coaching staff that was leaving. Your families don't walk out on you. You know, your families don't walk out on you. And I think that that's important to note. And something that people don't think about sometimes in recruiting. So, you know, and when you're trying to build a brand, the brand is in the community. Right? If you're trying to build the brand of Syracuse in Florida, you can build it, but they also have their teams too. When you're building a brand in New York of Syracuse, you have Syracuse and you have Buffalo for Division I AFBS. That's it. You don't have any teams in Queens or Brooklyn or Yonkers or so on and so forth. That's a Division I AFBS school. You don't have teams in the southern tier, the middle part, or the Adirondacks, or the St. Lawrence area. That's a Division I school. So it's you and Buffalo that are fighting to put your name out there, right? That's an awesome opportunity for Syracuse that other people don't have. If you're in the state of Florida, you have FAU, FIU, you have UCF, USF, you have Miami, you have Florida State, you have Florida. And then you add in some of those other schools that teams are going to go up against, like Bethune-Cookman and so on and so forth. There's a lot of competition up and down the state to try. You have Jacksonville State. You're trying to, in Jacksonville State, become in Division I FBS after beating Florida State, by the way. So you have these scenarios and situations where Syracuse is in a prime one in the state of New York to become that team. Right? What did Dr. Gross say? New York's college team? Well, if New York's college team doesn't recruit New York and build relationships with the New York community and with the families within that community, then you can't be New York's college team if you don't connect to the community in the state of New York. How can you call yourself, hey, we're that team that everybody loves, if you're not building those relationships of love? So I think it's very important. And I've spent a lot of years. See, I put my money where my mouth is. I just don't speak. I don't shoot from the hip and just speak without thinking about something. You know, am I perfect? Absolutely not. I can always get better. But when I sit here and I tell you that there's talent in the state of New York, it's because I've seen it. It's because I've covered it. And it's because I've seen them go on and play Division I. You know, and there's student athletes that have been good that play Division II and Division III. And there's good student athletes that have gone and played JUCO. And when people say, well, JUCO, blah, 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 well, Syracuse has made their hay for years now in getting junior college players. Doug Marrone was doing that. And then we saw that continue. Go and get the JUCO guys. Go and get the guys with the experience of a couple of years. Bring them over. The guys that, maybe didn't have great grades, maybe slipped through the cracks, maybe something happened. They end up at junior college and they showcase themselves, and now look at how good they are. There's a lot to be said about the talent. And when you are when you have a really good eye, everyone's going to see. You don't have to put a lot of effort in to see the number one wide receiver in the state of Florida, the number one quarterback in Oklahoma, because it's already being talked about, right? When people are out there recruiting Arch Manning, it's all over the place. Trevor Lawrence, number one recruit in the entire country of all sports combined and put in a pot. Number one overall recruit. So everybody knew that. If you were paying attention, they knew that. But who's the fine-tooth comb person that goes and finds a Tom Brady and makes him the backup in Michigan? Who's the fine-tooth comb person that finds the Sean Tucker in Owings, Maryland, who goes and sets the single-season rushing record at Syracuse above Joe Morris, Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Rob Drummond, Larry Zonka, and so on and so forth? Who's the fine-tooth comb person that goes and finds Jay Bromley with no offers downstate in New York, who goes on to be a third-round pick in the NFL and plays multiple seasons for the Giants and the Saints? Who's the fine-tooth comb person to go and get Mackie McPherson from Syracuse, who was told that he was too small to play on the offensive line, and then 3 out of 4 years he's got a 1,000-yard back behind him? Who's the fine-tooth comb person to find Riley Dixon, who comes from CBA and goes off to Syracuse and has been in the NFL for many years and one of the most difficult jobs to attain in the NFL, which is a punter, because if you're a good one, they don't fire you for like 15 to 20 years. It's crazy how long a punter could stay in the NFL. Who is the fine-tooth person to go after Mike Washington Jr. at CNS? And he goes to Buffalo. Syracuse called him. The former staff called him. They didn't offer him anything. They said, we saw your film, keep working hard. A fan can say that. A fan can say, I saw your game, you looked good, keep working hard. Never gave him an offer. And then the guy goes and sets records at Buffalo in his first 2 seasons. Sets records. So I don't talk out of my booty. I talk from reality. And the reality is there's talent in Central and Upstate New York. And for any media person to laugh at that, it's like, well, then why don't you just get out of the state? If you don't respect the community, why are you here? Go somewhere else. If supporting kids in this community isn't important to you, then why would you be here? See, a lot of people are in it for themselves. I'm in it to see everybody win. I'm in it to hopefully break up the ice around those hardened hearts in Central and Upstate New York even, and in the state of New York, and around the country and the world. Wake Up Call is not meant to just be, hey, it's me, and it's all about me, and I love me. Wake Up Call is meant to be a place where we can grow. We can learn from each other. I can learn from you, you can learn from me, and we can help out communities, and we can tell stories, and we can get people to take that next step in life. Get me to take my next step. Get you to take yours. So I'm excited about the conversations we get to have because they move me. And I've covered CNS for a long time. And I have all the respect in the world for Dave. And now I get to build a relationship with Jim Ryan. I get to see what he's all about. I get to learn about him. And first impression has been great. And I can't wait to see what's going to come from this. So congratulations to CNS. Congratulations to Tim Bednarski for finding your guy. And I look forward to what the staff's going to do. I know that Jim said he hopes the assistants stay on. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. That would be good continuity with your student athletes. And it would also be good to see that, like if they give a vote of confidence, right, to the new coach, then that can be a huge thing too. So hoping for all good things for this CNS football program, and I'm very thankful that Tim Bednarski and Jim Ryan were so quick to get back in touch with me to set this up and to have him on the show on the heels of him accepting the job at CNS. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We will be back in just a few moments, and when we do, Tay Baker is going to be joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Tay coming to us within the Bryant and Stratton season. The Syracuse Bobcats here, Bryant and Stratton, Syracuse. Very happy, as always, to have them on the show. In our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Bobcats, we bring you men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, baseball, and esports every single year, telling the stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration. And the Bobcats here lost a close one to Cheney. Cheney is actually an NCAA Division II school. Lost to Cheney 62-58, and they will be on the road here this Wednesday, tomorrow. They'll be on the road at Buffalo State Sports Arena to take on Bryant and Stratton College of Buffalo this February 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Then you can see them at home the week of Valentine's Day, which is next week. You can see them on February 16th on a Friday night, February 16th against Bryant and Stratton College of Buffalo, and on February 17th, that Saturday, against Fisher from Massachusetts. Only 3 more games before they go into the Vaden Cup that I was talking about, and so that's something. Definitely want to get you out here and want you to see this, because they only have 2 more home games for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball. Only 2 home games remain for the Bobcats this season for women's basketball. Next Friday and Saturday, February 16th and 17th, respectively. So definitely want to get you out and want you to be a part of this. Do want to make a note that on the men's side of things, the men's team is on a 3-game winning streak, and they have won 5 of their last 6 games. They're on the road for a while here too, and they will have 2 more home games, Friday, February 16th against Bryant and Stratton College of Buffalo, and on Sunday, February 18th against Tortora College, who they just faced on the road a little bit ago. So you can see all of the home games for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse on site, on location at Allen Hall on the Onondaga Community College campus. So over at OCC in Syracuse, inside of the Allen Hall gym, you will find the Bryant and Stratton Bobcats men's and women's basketball teams' home games. And like I said, their next home game for the men's and women's side coming up next week on Friday night, February 16th. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back with Tay Baker inside of the Wake Up Call studios right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, and always appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It is my absolute honor and privilege to welcome you here to the show, and really means a lot to me to have you here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call. So thank you so much for hanging out with us, of course, on our social media, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. So however you're connected with the show, it means the world to me to have you be here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And with us, whether it be watching us live, watching us on playback, as well as connecting with us in so many awesome ways on our social media. So, however you're connected with the show, thanks for hanging out here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life. And we had Jim Ryan on the show just a little while ago, the new CNS head football coach for the Northstars, on the heels of that announcement coming out, which just came out. So always happy to be able to bring things to you instantaneously, and we were able to do that as the announcement of him getting the job at Cicero North Syracuse happened yesterday later on, and we were able to have him here this morning after the announcement came in. So very excited for that. Tay Baker is going to be joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora momentarily, and excited to have Tay on the show. And so hopefully we'll be able to get his video in here so we can have some fun here with Tay on the broadcast in this new edition of the Bobcat Buzz. And we're going to do exactly that right now, as we're going to bring in Tay Baker here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I was saying before the break that the Bobcats of Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse have an exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we are always excited and honored for the opportunity to tell the stories of the Bobcats, and so we have the opportunity to do that now with Tay. As Tay, we just got to bring Tay's audio in here. So Tay, if you can unmute it, and we could talk with Tay here this morning in this Bobcat Buzz with the head coach of the Bryant and Stratton College women's basketball team of Syracuse. Tay, how we doing? Oh, and we can't hear you, Tay. Let's see if we can get your volume up here a little bit. There we go. Go ahead, Tay. How you doing?
But I'm not sure.
Okay, we could kind of get. You might have your hand over it here, so can we can hear you now.
Okay.
There we go. How we doing, Tay?
Yes.
How's everything?
I'm doing good, man. Enjoying the nice weather, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going good. I mean, these are the days like this are the days that people like you and I go out on literally any court we can find. We'll just drive by one, pull over on the side of the road, and play some ball.
Yes, that's true. I agree with that.
So how's everything been, Tay? I know you and I saw each other over the weekend. How's everything been going? I know the team has been, going through some adversity, regrouping, resetting themselves. Yeah. So how's everything been?
Yes, everything's been good. Pretty much, a lot of us are getting over the flu. So we've been playing, a little under the weather lately. So we're just pretty much trying to bounce back from that. Like you said, we ran into each other the other day when we lost a good game to Cheney College. Other than that, we're just trying to bounce back from that loss.
Yeah, and to go back into that Cheney game, I know that, in that one, a close matchup, you and I were talking about it, 5 turnovers from Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse in 45 seconds. I mean, if that was really the tale of the tape, going back and reflecting on this game and just what your thoughts were.
I honestly just thought that a lot of our players, like I said, were under the weather, not to make up excuses. So I just felt like we weren't thinking, the way we normally think at the last few minutes of the game. Salute to Cheney for doing a good job pressuring us at the last few minutes of the game. They didn't really pressure us all game. So when they threw the press at us at the end of the game, they kind of caught us by surprise. And, it woke us up, but it was kind of too late.
Yeah, and when you reflect on that, like you said, team being under the weather and fighting through it, despite the loss, which was just by a couple possessions down the stretch, despite that loss for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball, what positives do you take away from the fact that your team didn't give up, and even though they were feeling under the weather, feeling kind of down and out, not feeling 100% in a season where, a lot of people are getting, in the winter season itself, a lot of people have kind of come down with something, to see your team battle through it, not give up, not quit, just even though that loss is on the scorecard, what positives do you take away from a team that didn't give up?
The positives I took from that game was, to just like how you said we stuck together and we fought through it, and that's what I tell the girls all the time, we're gonna face adversity. I know you heard it before, basketball is like a game full of runs.
Yeah.
Cheney went on their run at the last moment, and we just stuck together, and I just told them, even though we lost, we fought hard. We didn't give up. And I always tell my girls, like, the game isn't over until the clock, says zero pretty much. Because one of my friends just actually hit a game winning shot with like a second left. But yeah, I just felt like Cheney didn't give up at all. They fought until the clock said zero. They pressured us, and you know, I'm not mad at my players. There's was back to the drawing board. We went back to practice yesterday and work on the press. We took positives from it. We just kind of just knew what we needed to work on to help better the team.
And like you said, I mean, their press affected you in the game against Cheney. So like you were stated, you went back to practice and went up against that press and said, okay, this is what we lost to. So now we're going to go after it in practice. I mean, to me, that's the smartest thing to do. I don't know if every coach will automatically go back to that, but to say like, hey, these are our biggest issues. This is the thing that just beat us. Let's attack this. Let's get this right. Just what you can say about how the women responded on the team when you practiced through the press after losing to a team that was pressing you. How do you feel your team responded to going up against the press?
I felt like we responded very good because we have another good game tomorrow, and they also like to press Buffalo, Bryant and Stratton. So, when I felt like from us going back to the drawing board and working on the press immediately is going to help us for tomorrow. Just like any other good coaches and coaches out there, teams watch films to see what other teams can do to expose, teams. And I felt like the press kind of exposed us, but now we're prepared for it. We put in two new plays for the press, the 3-2. So I feel like we're going to be much more prepared. That's why we went right back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's a huge thing to do is coming off a game where something affected you in a loss to attack that right away and say, okay, you know what? This is something that maybe we want to hang our heads about, but we're not going to do that. We're going to take a weakness of our team. We're going to turn it into a strength immediately, and we're going to flip the script on that.
Yes, sir.
Where has the team been strong this season? Where have you seen your strengths come? When you look at your roster and you look at what you've seen these young women put on film, what can you say are the strengths of specifically this season's women's basketball team for Bryant and Stratton Syracuse?
A few of our strengths I can honestly say is our guards. I honestly feel like we have the best backcourt, in our conference. I feel like we also with Younes, our big. I feel like we've been very strong down in the paint. Because I feel like that give us more opportunity to take more shots. And Younes is a great person to clean up rebounds and put it right back in the rim. Even with Deontay, I feel like she's not even a big, but she's did a good job, coming into the big role with one of our bigs getting hurt earlier in the season. So Deontay had to step up and play a big throughout the season. So I feel like a lot of our strengths is just all of the girls coming together and doing what they do best. Everyone does something different, but they all contribute in a different way, I feel like.
Yeah, and your team, like you said, not just being under the weather this past weekend, but you've gone through injuries. There's adversity that happens in a season.
Yes.
Things you can't control. When you look at the roster right now and what you have, do you feel like you have enough here? There's enough depth. Because I know last season came down to depth issues in the games down the stretch. Do you feel like through injury, through everything that's gone on, through adversity, that you have enough depth here to try and make a late run in your season? You're 8-5 right now, to make a late run in the season and have an opportunity toward nationals.
Honestly, I do think we can run and compete to, you know, to go to nationals. I feel like the players that we have can pit other players. They're basically stepping up. I feel like other players are stepping up, and I feel like the players that I did add are helping out a lot. You know, helping better the starters and you know make them better. And I feel like we're competing. I honestly do feel like we do have the depth to make it to nationals.
You know, and I know we got to take one game at a time as we move forward here. I want to go back to Cheney for a
Yes.
second and take a look at Cheney here. You had the opportunity after the game to speak with their head coach for the women's basketball program at Cheney, and would love to get your thoughts on kind of, you know, going back and forth with Alicia Mosley. I was there with you when you're kind of repping back and forth. It's great to see after a game happens that two coaches from two opposite sides can just talk ball. What did you take away
Mhm.
from your conversation with the Cheney head coach?
Well, with the Cheney head coach, you know, I know you said you heard us talking, but we just talked about like it's basically was a good game. We should have won that game. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
The last few minutes of the game, decision making was what caused us to lose. But we talked about, you know, just being our beginning stages of coaching, you know. We both enjoying the opportunity and just living in the moment. Of course, we both want to win. That's the goal is you know is to win ultimately. But that's pretty much what we talked about. And then she also brought up how someone I guess that lives in her apartment complex, knows me. I guess he used to live in Syracuse, so I thought that was pretty cool. So we talked about that. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all we talked about was the game, and then we were locked in the men's game. You know, our Bryant Stratton versus Cheney men's game right after.
You know, and when you speak with a coach, in Alicia's case, she's in her second season as the head
Hmm.
coach of that program. You're in your second season as the head coach of the women's
Yes.
basketball program at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. When you go around the country, I mean, you get to play a Division One team as well on the road in UMBC. When you have these
Yes.
opportunities to sit down and speak with other coaches in your second season, what are you gathering? What are you learning? Because I know that you're one of those, you know, people that can go up and talk with anybody and
Hmm.
spend time with people. And I know that you sat down with the UMBC coach, you sat down with the Cheney coach. What are you learning
Hmm.
in your second season as a head coach?
You know, I'm just learning to always have like an open mind. You know, always be willing to learn. You know, excuse me, Dan. But yeah, I'm just learning to build relationships. You know, that's how you meet new people, you meet new players, you meet new parents. You know, that's pretty much what my goal is these first couple years. You know, after the season will be my third season coming back, but my goal is to keep building relationships, keep going out recruiting because that's also what Coach Alicia mentioned to me that she salutes me like how I recruited. You know, this year she really liked it my guards, you know, and I told them I got them from just building relationships. You know, that's my number one goal is to build relationships and get these girls in, you know. We got a great program going and I just know by building relationships is just going to make the program even better, you know.
Yeah, you know, and you and I have gotten to see this growth and see the
Yeah.
opportunities that have come here for this team and for you. Last season ended in adversity, ended in something that was, you know, off the court type of thing. This season,
Hmm.
you're in control of your destiny. This season, you can step forward into the national tournament. Last season was something that, you know, kind of just prevented it and it was out of your hands.
Hmm.
When you go through something like that, Tay, something that you have no control over, knowing that this season you are in the driver's seat, the team is 8-5, you got a few more games ahead of you, you have an opportunity to show why you should be in the USCAA national tournament. What can
Yes.
you say to that in simply having an opportunity where last season you didn't, this season you have right in front of you the fact that you can move forward at when last season you couldn't move forward no matter what the record was. So how do you feel about that shift? Because I saw you go through it. It was adversity. It was difficult. and now we have the chance to actually, hopefully, get to see you coach in the national tournament. What has that meant to you, knowing that this team is in control of its own destiny?
It means a whole lot, Dan. Just want to put that out there. It means a whole lot because, like you said, last year, a lot of things were out of my control. And there was things that I wish I could change, but like I just couldn't change it. And like you said, I'm just grateful for this opportunity now. I feel like last year's issues and adversities that we went through kind of like, you know, it kind of is the reason why I only have a certain amount of girls. That's why I think the girls, that's why we're so close, because I think the girls for giving me an opportunity and believing in me and giving me a chance to show them that I can coach and we can win games, you know. And that last year's record was, just something that just so happened. So, at the beginning of the season, I let them know we do have an opportunity to make it to nationals, and we're going to take advantage of this opportunity. We're not going to do anything to mess up this opportunity, and I let them know the importance of how big it is to make it to nationals and what we can accomplish this year. I feel like we accomplished a lot this year from from all of the adversity we went through last year. I had a few returners that went through adversity with us, went through all the BS with us, and they returned, and I feel like they're basically getting good results from staying with me, you know. And I don't know, Dan. I'm just happy to just be able to like you said, be in control and really show not just myself, the players, and Coach Nick, my boss, Coach Alex, and everyone else that I am the best fit for this position, and we just going to keep going up from here.
Well, that's the thing here with Tate Baker in this edition of the Bobcat Buzz and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College's Syracuse. Here with the women's basketball head coach. You played at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. You have been an assistant coach there when Clay Gagan Sherman, who's now the men's basketball head coach, was the women's basketball head coach, and you were there as an assistant on his staff. So, you know what it's like to play there. You know what it's like to be an assistant and watch a head coach and what they do. How have you developed into a head coach? How do you see yourself today as opposed to when you started on kind of this coaching trail?
I feel like I said, I've always was like a type of person that just loved to learn. When I had the opportunity to assistant coach with Coach Clay, I was just soaking everything in, watching how he ran practice, watch how he prepared for games and things like that. And I take a lot of advice from, like I said, the mentors around campus. I'm just always trying to soak in a lot of information. I think that's why sometimes I get a little unorganized because I'm trying to just soak in and do so much. But I just feel like I learned a lot. The years the 1 year I was working with Coach Clay. I felt like how I run my practices is a little similar to how Coach Clay run his practice, and then I take a lot from Coach Eric Cerrone from high school at Henniger, and then he was also my coach at OCC. So a lot of the drills he ran at practice, I just took that with me, and I also do it with the girls. There's a lot of conditioning.
But I can say this, Tay, you playing for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, you know what it's like to be in the USCAA. You know the level of competition. You know what's, demanded of you at Bryant and Stratton College. To those who don't know, because, a lot of people know NCAA. A lot of people go NCAA Division I. They don't look at Division II. They don't look at Division III. They don't look at JUCO. They don't look at USCAA. Why do you think the USCAA, the small college, opportunity here for smaller colleges in America that want to have an athletic department and athletic programs? What is good about the USCAA and what's good about a school like Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse? Having gone through and been a student athlete yourself, what can you say about the level of competition, the level of talent, and why people should take it seriously?
I feel like the small colleges are, if I could say like slept on. I feel like a lot of the best athletes around the world are in small colleges, and then a lot of players are at small colleges because of like grades and injuries and things like that. You know, I feel like it's a good opportunity for players like myself and other players to come here and develop your game, and then get to the next level. I do feel like it should be more exposure on the small colleges, like because we played a UMBC, and they're a decent Division 1 college, and we gave them a run for their money the first couple quarters before we died out. But yeah, I just feel like as far as Bryant and Stratton itself and other small colleges in the USCA conference, I feel like it's a good development program. If you want to come here and get film, and if you don't think you're good enough, or coaches don't think you're good enough to play at the NCAA level or at that high level, come to one of these schools, develop films, and then send it out to those coaches. And then I feel like you'll get better results. And then I feel like a lot of my friends went across seas and things like that by just coming to get film at a small school. So I think there's a lot of benefits from coming to Bryant, Stratton, or any small school. You don't have to go to the big school to be great.
And for you, like you said, being a player and then being an assistant coach, growing into a head coach, when you take a critical eye to yourself and constructively look at yourself as a coach, where do you think you're getting better? Where are you challenging yourself as a head coach?
I'm challenging myself to just keep going every day. It's definitely a grind. Hard work, and it takes like hard work and dedication. You know, Sorry, yeah, I'm like I said, we're all just getting over the flu. But yeah, I just feel like I'm learning game by game, practice by practice, and just day by day where I need to get better at. Like just how we lost against Cheney. I learned just from that loss where we need to get better at, where I need to get better at as a coach. There's a game last weekend where I played one of my starters with 3 fouls going into the end of second quarter, but I know that's a learning mistake. I honestly knew I shouldn't have played, but that was a learning experience. You know, I can give you a whole bunch of learning experiences, but every day I'm just trying to learn, even off the basketball court, on the business side, the paperwork and getting, everything organized off the basketball court so everything with basketball can flow. You know, there's a lot of things that I'm learning, and I know I can get better at.
Yeah, and that challenge, that desire to get better, that desire to learn. You have a passion for basketball, and that's clear. How has your passion for coaching grown? Like, did you see yourself as a young kid becoming a coach? Is this something that just kind of developed recently that you're like, hey, I want to do this. I want to take this shot. I want to take this opportunity. Was it on your mind growing up, or is it something that you kind of grew into and said, I love this game so much that I want to stay a part of it?
I honestly believe that, like you said, I love basketball so much that I was like always known around Syracuse for basketball. So I always knew knowledge, and I had knowledge of the basketball game, like I just knew what spots to pick to make jump shots, and what crossover to do to make sure this, I can get to a spot to see this player. I just always had knowledge of the basketball game. And then, like I said, when COVID shut down, I started an actual basketball training program for kids around Syracuse. So I kind of was always in coaching, but it was like never this type of coaching. So to answer your question, as a kid, I never like see myself actually coaching college basketball, but I always knew I was gonna retire basketball one day and then start giving my knowledge to like my daughter and my nephews and the next generation. So, and then when Coach Clay brought me in to actually start training my doing my Handles Academy training with his men's basketball player. That's kind of how I moved in to become an assistant coach because I was training his men's. I mean, not his men's. Sorry, his women's program. I'm sorry. So I came in as assistant coach training the women's basketball program.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
And say, I mean, to see that passion that you have and to be a student of the game, do you feel like you're learning kind of how to do that message, how to bring that message, being a student athlete and now coaching student athletes? How
yes.
have you developed your message to your team? How have you figured out a way to get through to them? Because different players need to be coached differently. Some people
Mm-hmm.
understand things differently. So how have you developed into a way of taking those ideas that you have and those thoughts that you have and turning them into a message that sinks in? Because you could talk to a brick
Mm-hmm.
wall or you can
Mm-hmm.
talk to somebody and have it actually get through. How have you
Mm-hmm.
developed not only your message but the way that you deliver your message?
Yeah, just building the relationship with the with the players and everyone around you, just showing, not like you said, not just talking to like a brick wall, but actually showing, and leading by example. That's why sometimes to I showed like some of my players, videos of me playing basketball, and then like my guards, I'm like, this is the type of things that I'm trying to give you. The awards. I even showed them like when we go up to OCC at our home, at our home games. I brought the girls down to downstairs and showed them my awards that they have like in the plaque and things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't show them to like, and I let them know I don't show them to like brag, but I show them that this can be you guys now, and this is what I'm here to teach you and show you that, anything is possible, you know? So, yeah.
And I think that's, and we also know that you can still ball out, Tay. I mean, I got to see that here recently, how many shots that you were hitting there over and over and over again. And I'm like, man, like,
Appreciate that, Dan.
I was like, I feel like I can shoot, but I need to loosen my arms up and get out on the court if I'm going to have a shootout with Tay. But I mean, you still got it. It's still fun. Do you do any of that fun stuff in practice? Do you have a little, a shootout with your team, or hey, if I make this half court shot, y'all got to run? Do you do anything fun in practice?
Absolutely. We do exactly what you just said. If I make this shot, they have to do 17s in a minute, or, a lot of the times I'm running up and down the court with them when we're doing transition drills or 5-on-5. I'm out there playing with the girls, every day pretty much. I really do love it, Dan. And I, like I said, I'm trying to stay young so I can keep going.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm out there a lot. But
Well, Tay, as we know, there's a few games to go here in the regular season. We know that coming up here for you, like you said, this, and I announced earlier in the show, this Wednesday, February 7th at 6
yes.
p.m., you'll be on the road at Bryant and Stratton College of Buffalo. And then on
Yes,
Friday and Saturday, a home opportunity back and back, the final two home games for Bryant and Stratton Syracuse women's basketball against Bryant and Stratton Buffalo on February 16th on Friday, and not this Friday, but next Friday, and
yes.
on February 17th against Fisher from Massachusetts. Do
Yes.
we have a time set for these? Any information you want to share?
We're still working on the time. I just gotta confirm with the other coaches just to make sure. I know one of them is a doubleheader, and I just want to confirm with the other coach and Coach Clay just the times. We'll have it up there either later on today or by the morning. The latest, we'll have Coach Nolan put it up there. But yeah, those are pretty important games for us. We like you said, we're 8-5. We just want to finish out with all wins. Tomorrow's game is going to be a big challenge for us. Cheney beat them by 1 point as well. Well, we lost by 3, but they beat Buffalo by 1 point. So it's going to be another good game. We're excited.
Why should people come out to Allen Hall on the OCC campus next Friday and Saturday and see your women's basketball team at Bryant and Stratton play?
Like you said, it's the last 2 games. I feel like we had a decent support system this year, and I would just love to pack the house for the last couple games if possible. you know, and I just feel like it's going to be a good game. Then those are two good teams. We went on the road and played Fisher earlier. We beat them, and they just want to get their win back. So it's going to be a good game.
That coming from Tay Baker, the head coach of the Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball team in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse here on Wake Up Call and through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. The Bobcat Buzz here every month and only here on Wake Up Call. You know what we got to do, Tay. You always say you're ready for it, so we got some rapid fire to go.
Yes, sir.
You get to ask me the first question. What do you got for me?
All right. My first question then is, would you rather to be able to speak every language in the world, or
Okay.
would you rather be able to speak to every animal on the planet?
Oh man, I would rather speak to every animal. So
Every animal.
yeah, I would rather do that. I think every language is cool, but having a dog and I mean Lily being my daughter, I feel like we have a great language, and I don't think people really understand from a human being to an animal. How can you call them your son? How can you call them your daughter? But when you see me with her and you see how she is, it literally is just this kind of beautiful love. And if I could go even deeper into that and I could understand, if she barked and I could hear, words and kind of understand what she was saying, I think that'd be really cool. I think it'd be cool to go in, to the jungle, go into the wild and talk to lions and jaguars. I think it would be cool to, talk to a giraffe. And I don't know, man. I thought about, maybe I can Dr. Doolittle it up a little bit. Why not?
Yep, Dr. Doolittle. I don't know if you ever seen the cartoon show Wild Thornberries. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like the preparation. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would love to talk to Lily more. So I would say that. My question for you, are you watching football or no?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay, so not watching football. So I'm going to ask you this question because I was just at a card show in Philadelphia. My buddy Brendan Murphy and I had a great time. We were down in Philly over the weekend at the Fishtown Card Show. And I found in my collection that I opened in a pack of cards years ago and just left it in the pack of cards, totally forgot about it. And now I'm considering maybe getting it graded. I want to know what you think about the fact that I have a Steph Curry rookie card in my possession.
Steph Curry rookie card. Wow. And you never knew you had it?
No, I totally forgot about it.
And you said you're going to get it, what is it, appraised or?
Yeah, I might get it graded by, might send it off to PSA to get it graded, so have it come back and see what I can get from it. But I mean, just having it in my possession, I was like, this is crazy.
Is that the only big card you have? That's pretty cool though to have that.
It's not the only big card I have. I have C.J. Stroud's rookie for the Texans. I have Pat Mahomes, who will be playing this weekend in the title game. I have his rookie card, 10 out of 10. I pulled it out of a pack, got it graded, and had that all set up. So we just lost Tay here for a second. So we're gonna try and bring Tay back in. So we lost him here momentarily. Hopefully we'll get him here. And Greg said surprising answer for my answer on the fact that I would want to talk to animals. And I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into it as we try to bring Tay back on here. The reason why I chose animals is because of Lily. Is because of my dogs, Mordo and Cinnamon and Shady, that I've also had in my life. It's because, I had two gerbils as a kid that I actually won at a craft fair at my church at St. Daniel's, Sunny and Magic, and I have my fish Daredevil. And, then we used to, my buddy Mark Walzik and I, God bless him, and hope to see him soon, and may God look kindly on him. He is an incredible person, and he's overseas right now, fighting the good fight. So God bless to you, sir, very much so. And so him and I used to go to camp, and we would find salamanders and newts and mud puppies and toads and frogs and all this stuff. and we would, you know, build habitats for them, and we would bring them home. And so we would, you know, build these habitats and take care of them. I don't know, we just always like to study them and learn about them and all of that. So to me, you know, I think that animals are really special, and I think human beings are really special. And as much as I would like to, you know every language so that I could, you know, talk to people from all around the world, I think that, you know, I already talk to people. And I think there's a lot of things that you can do universally in body language. I mean, working at Walt Disney World, I had to learn how to interact with people who understood none of my language, some of my language. And you realize through body language, through kind of directional things and whatnot, you can do that. Because they asked us that before. They're like, how would you handle a guest that doesn't speak English? And I would say, you know, I can point, I can direct, I can show through smiling or frowning, or like I can show emotion on my face to say like, this is good, this not good, this is not good. And you can kind of like go to a basic form of interaction in through pointing, through directional things, through body language, through emotion on your face. You can help somebody to do that. And I did do that. I mean, have somebody, you know, a person of Asian descent come and maybe be, you know, speaking Mandarin to me. I'm speaking English and they don't understand anything that I'm saying, yet I, you know, still work to get her what she needed and what she was looking for. And so I think that is something I already do. You know, I already challenge myself to learn how to interact. I mean, my good friend Jim Sikowski, you know, going through everything he has with ALS, and he's been fighting the good fight too. And may God look kindly on him in Jesus' name for him and Mark and everybody. Amen. When I think about, you know, these beautiful people, him and I used to sit and talk all the time. Now going through ALS, he mouths his words, and you try to understand what he's saying through how he's moving his mouth. And so I'm trying to learn to read lips. So I think there's a lot of ways to interact without having to know everybody's language, which is why I picked that one. And so I would say that, you know, I would say that through body language and through the fact of having to learn ways to interact with people, it's given me an opportunity to speak without knowing everybody's language. So I would want to talk to animals because that's a language that, you know, I mean, I think animals understand you. I think that it is yet another sign that God exists, because how does my dog understand what I'm saying? How does Lily get it? How does a dog pick up whatever language, right? If a dog is adopted by a family that speaks Spanish, that dog will learn Spanish and will learn how to sit, will learn, you know, when there's a treat coming, to go outside, to ring the bell, to do this and that, but they'll learn it in the Spanish language. And like I said, so when I say Lily's my child, it's the same thing a child learns. A child growing up is a sponge. They learn what you teach them. That's why it's important to teach love and not hate. And when you teach a child, like, this is your fork, this is your spoon, this is how you eat, you know, you have to brush your teeth, let me show you how to do that. Families all over the world are teaching that in French, in Spanish, and English, but we're all doing the same thing. A family in Spain teaching their child through the Spanish language to brush your teeth is my mom and my dad teaching me in the English language how to brush my teeth. So I think that language is universal in getting the same points across. So there's really this beautiful marriage of every language coming together, and whichever one you learn is the one you go with. And how smart are dogs that they can pick up it just like a child would, that if I was, raising Lily speaking Spanish all day long, she would still learn and know how to do arguably the exact same things, but she would learn it through that language. So if somebody spoke English to her, she wouldn't understand because she grew up learning Spanish. So you'd have to teach her the other one. So I just think it's a beautiful art, and I would love to dig deeper into the language of animals and how they understand us and why they understand us and how God made that. So, I mean, think about that. These, dogs come from wolves. Wolves are wild. Yet Lily treats me like a father, acts like a kid, understands the English language, and can communicate with me without speaking the language back to me, can communicate to me when she has to go outside, when she's hungry, when she's thirsty, when she doesn't feel good. I mean, for goodness sakes, Lily and I pray together, and she actually put her paws together and put them like she's praying. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So I'd want to learn more about that side of the world, because I know so many human beings. Through chasing my dreams, I've had the opportunity to meet thousands of people. And so I think it would be really cool to meet thousands of animals and hear about their story. Have an elephant actually like sit down and tell you about their life and their grandmother and why they are the way they are and why they won't leave this certain part of land because it's the land that's been in their family for 4 generations. I think that'd be so cool to go back and say to someone, like, I just had a 2-hour conversation with an elephant and I learned about his grandmother and his kids and his dreams and aspirations and what he wants for himself, how he sees the world. I just think that would be so cool to do that, because animals uplift us, and it would be really cool to hear their story through their language and understand that. So it's a long-winded answer, but it's a great question that provoked me to think about a lot of things. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will jump into the ingredients to success. We're going to hope to get Tay back here on the air, and if we're unable to, then we'll follow up, because we had a big-time conversation. We were just finishing up the rapid fire, but we got into a lot of different topics with Tay, and always appreciate having him on the show. And of course, love our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. And that exclusive multimedia marketing partnership is only here through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media and Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Always appreciate our wonderful opportunities to speak with coaches, student athletes, and administration at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll come back with the ingredients to success right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here. which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks is available to you by heading over to 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. You can find GG Cards and Breaks there right off of TL Ave. Open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 a.m. to 5 on Sundays. GG Cards and Breaks, to me, is the sports card shop. They have every NBA team, every NFL, every MLB. You can walk in there and go and find your favorite team and sit down and go through and find all different awesome cards. You can find a bunch of different pieces to add to your collection, from autographs to numbered cards to jersey cards and so much more, refractors, all of these wonderful things at GG Cards and Breaks. They have packs, they have boxes, they're constantly getting in new products. They have singles that are going into the display case at all times, and you can get basketball, football, baseball, hockey, soccer, all sport, AEW, as well as Pokemon and the new Disney Lorcana, all on site, on location at GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. You can experience the difference by heading there today and letting them know that DT sent you their way. With that being said, we have back here with me, picture in picture, Mr. Tay Baker on the broadcast. So, Tay, we are right in the middle of rapid fire. It is time for us to get a couple more of these in. So what do you got for me?
Yes.
So let's see here. Can you hear us, Tay?
Yes. My apologies, Dan.
No worries at all. So what do you got for me?
So my other question, Dan, what was your childhood nickname that your parents gave you?
My childhood nickname that my parents gave me. That's a good one. I would say, oh man, my dad would always call me Buddy. So he'd always call me Buddy. And
Buddy, okay.
Yeah, so Buddy and Daniel Manuel, I think, is he would give me that one. And then my mom has 1.5 billion nicknames, but for me, but yeah, I would say, what would I say from all the ones that my mom gave me? But she used to rock me, and she would like sing me songs because my mom has a beautiful voice. So
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the most notable nickname that I had growing up was Dan the Man, and or just D. My buddy would call me D, or he'd be like, "What's up, Big D?" I think D is probably that one, and then Dan the Man is one that I got in like kindergarten, I would
Dan the
say.
man. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because like nobody calls me Danny, and then someone will come into my life and call me Danny, and it's not a name that I typically ever use. But like I would
Yeah.
have coaches, they'd be like, "Come on, Danny," and I'm like, "That's not my name." so, yeah. So I would say, I want to stick with that one, Tay. What was your nickname growing up?
My nickname growing up was always Little Tay, Tay. Um, that's pretty much like they used to call me yeah, that's pretty much it.
And what you just did is what I did. It was like they used to call. Yeah, I'm not saying that on the air.
That's exactly what I just did.
I think that, but there's that. What is that song? That Hey Baby, Hey Baby. You know what I mean? And so like I think I think Tay Baby. I think there should be like a little music thing where they give you that, where you come out and they're like, and Coach Tay Baker, and then it's like Tay Baby, Tay Baby, and the lights go off. I think that'd be good for you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Give me one more, Tay, because I want to let you know I just got a message that came in that says Tay plays rapid fire seriously. I like his questions.
Oh, I appreciate that.
What do you got for me?
Yeah, I
baby?
gotta come prepared for Dan, man. The first interview, I had no questions for him. So from there on, I told myself I'll be prepared.
Awesome. Give me one more, Tay.
And the last one is just a regular one. If you can visit, no, not that one. If you could be any celebrity or hang with any celebrity in the world, who would you hang with? And what would you want to learn from them?
Well, I would say any celebrity, who would I hang with? Well, I'm going to pick a couple different ones. I'm going to give you a couple different roads.
Okay.
So I would hang with Drake because A, we're Raptor fans. B, we were both born in October. C, we both like, lobster and shrimp and Moscato apparently. And if you don't know that he likes that, go back to his song with Trey. Not Trey Songs. His song with. I'm trying to think of the guy now. I'm gonna forget his name. But the song "Successful."
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. No, it is. It is Trey. I think it is Trey. But it's a celebration. Clap, clap, bravo! Lobster and shrimp and a glass of Moscato. So I would say I would want to hang out with Drake and see if we actually could be friends, being October babies and Raptor fans.
Okay.
And Drake's got some haters, and I got some haters, and Drake and I feel the same about him. So I think we'd have to talk about that. But in the famous words of Cat Williams, he's like, "You need haters." So I would say, and what did Cat Williams say? If there's any hater in here that's not doing anything, feel free to hate on me. So.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I remember him saying that.
Yeah. He's like, look at my hair and tell me it's not luxurious. So.
Cat Williams was going in, man.
Yeah. So I would say, Drake. We would hang out.
Drake. Okay.
We'd hang out for the day. I would say that I would hang out with Jim Carrey because I grew up on his comedy, and he seems to have a faith in God now. Maybe not necessarily the same as before. I'd want to know what changed that for him, how he got there, and so I would definitely want to, because my mom had this thing called Bunko, and a bunch of her friends would come over, and and I'm like a little kid, but I memorized Liar Liar.
Liar, liar, yep.
So they would come into the house, all of her friends, and we're talking about I'm like 10 years old, 12 years old. These are, 40, 50, 60-year-old women, and my mom would have me reenact Liar Liar. So I would want one day to have all my mom's friends together and say, "Hey, I'm going to reprise my role as Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, but in order
Yeah.
to act it out, I need some help. And then I would have Jim Carrey walk into the room with me to do it.
They will go nuts.
Oh yeah. So
That'd be too funny.
it's new in the building. Yeah, I just moved in Monday, and so like I mean, there's there's so many parts from that. So I'd want to hang out with Jim Carrey. I would want to hang out with Ted the Bear from the movie Ted.
Ted the Bear, oh man.
Because I absolutely love the show. I love the movies, and
yes,
and I just and I've done impressions my whole life, and my Boston accent came from watching Ted. So when I started to talk about being wicked hat, just all these things I had, Dunkin' Donuts, lobster, I mean, when all that stuff came in, it came from watching that. And I'll call my friends up and I'll talk only as Ted. And like somebody answered the phone yesterday, and I was just doing my Boston accent. So I, and when I went to Philly this weekend, I was like, what if I sat here and I talked at the table the whole time like this? And so like, Philadelphia. Yeah. Okay. But I mean, so I would want to sit with Ted, which I know that some people can appreciate out there. And I'm going to pick a serious one. I would sit with, this is really tough. Probably, I don't know, maybe I would sit with the Pope and say, how do you, in today's world, where everyone is looking for a God and trying to make one, how do you bring the actual one to them when they don't want to necessarily hear it?
Yes.
That's what I would do. So going from talking to Ted the Bear to talking to the Pope.
That's a big jump.
And then just having the three of us in a room together and he'd be like, so you're the Pope. You know what I mean? Like that would be awesome. My last question.
That's a good answer.
Let me say thank you.
What'd
you say?
I couldn't hear the last part. What'd you say, Dan?
No, I was just saying, and what I would want to take from each of them is kind of just like learning about their life and how they got to where they got to, you know, and just realizing personalities. I take, for somebody who speaks for a living, I think they think a lot of broadcasters have egos and they just want to listen to themselves talk. I listen so much more than people, I think, believe a broadcaster does listen, and I think you can attest to it, because if I didn't listen to you, I obviously wouldn't be able to ask you questions if I wasn't hearing what you're saying. So yeah, and I never have a notebook, and somebody asked me why a long time ago, and I said because I do this crazy thing called listening. So my last question to you, Tay, is if you could take me on a birthday trip around the world, you can take me to 3 locations. Where are you going to take me for my birthday? And what 3 comedians are we going to go see?
That's tough. What to answer because the comedians? I would probably. I'm not sure exactly where they're from or things like that, but I would probably bring you to meet. Well, you already said you want to meet Jim Carrey. So I like actors like Richard Pryor. I know he's a lot older, but I grew up watching him from my family members, and he was extremely funny to me. I would bring you to see Cat Williams because he's always been funny to me. Growing up as a kid, not even as a kid, just watching him. And then growing up as a kid, I would say probably Martin Lawrence or Chris Tucker.
All right, I like that. Where are we going? What three places are you bringing me? Anywhere in the world.
3 places I'm bringing you. Probably where I want to visit is where Eunice, my biggest from, Eunice Salon, Kenya, Africa. I would like to visit there because she always tells me how beautiful it is and how there's fruits everywhere and things like that. I thought that was pretty cool. That's one place. Another one of my friends visited, had a chance to visit there is Bermuda.
Okay.
Just from the looks of his videos and pictures, I would like to visit there, and I will bring you there.
Okay.
And then the last place, I don't know. Trying to think where I would like to visit. I guess it's not nowhere really big. The two biggest places I named already, and then I always wanted to visit. Like, I always had dreams of this place, and I've never been here. It's weird, but San Francisco.
Okay. All right. So San Francisco, Kenya, and Bermuda, we would go and visit all those places. We would see Jim Carrey, Cat Williams, and that would be
Martin Lawrence.
And
Yep.
Martin Lawrence, or you said Chris Tucker, which I think one of the best and I still to this day, if I'm dating a woman and she touches my radio, all I could think about is what he did to what he did in Rush Hour when he was like, well, he said you never touch a black man's radio, but I was like, you never touch a man's radio. You just look at the person like, what are you doing? And and then I remember when he would talk about his relationship, his friendship with Michael Jackson, and he would do Michael's. He was like, I was on the set of Rock with You, and or whatever, and he was like, and he's like, Michael in the beginning, he's like, Michael started dancing, and he's like, this other guy started dancing, so he's like, I started dancing, and he's like, I'm getting into it, and he's like, Michael was like, cut, what are you doing, Chris? What are you doing? What are you doing? And he's like, I'm dancing, Michael. I'm getting into the beat. And he's like, no, don't do that, Chris. You're going to have to wait in the car for me. Go wait in the car. And it's like hearing.
Dude, you're too funny.
But, so I mean, I love watching Chris Tucker. Also, I totally forgot about some parts of the Rush Hour movie, and people have made videos off of that stuff. There's some really, really funny Chris Tucker stuff that people don't know about. And,
exactly,
Chris Tucker he's hilarious, but I would have taken you to see if he was still alive. I got to see him before he passed, thank God. But Charlie Murphy.
Richard Pryor, you said?
Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's older brother.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, yes. Yep.
The guy that
extremely funny
became famous, coming off of Chappelle's show.
Yep.
And he was just, I mean, he was off of the the Rick James and the Prince interactions that he had. And then he was like, he's like, nah, he's like, that actually happened. He's like, that basketball game against Prince actually happened. He's like, and after he's like, after it all, after they beat us, we're just sitting there. Y'all want some pancakes? It's just, but I mean, and I think about that, and Prince is another one of those ones where you can do an impression of Prince, Tay, and all you have to do, you don't have to say a word.
Yeah.
All you have to do is make a noise. There's noises that Prince would make in songs. So I'll call up somebody and their answer machine. I'll pick up like, hey, this is Isaac. I'm not here right now. Leave a message. Beep. And you just hear me go, ow, ow. And then I just hang up. But, I mean, think about that. When you hear that, it's Prince. A grunt is like who Prince is.
Right.
Isn't that nuts? And it's like he was ow, and it was similar but not the same to what are you doing? I mean, it's like it was like Michael and him going, but and for those of us that remember this, when they were alive, Michael and Prince were fighting for like who was the king.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you this as a closing one: who is the king, Michael or Prince?
I'm gonna. I don't know if everybody gonna agree me with this, but I'm gonna go with Michael Jackson.
Okay. All right.
Michael Jackson is the king. I do love Prince, but I grew up off Michael Jackson, and he's just the king.
Yeah, and there's a thing that we just got sent here, right on cue. Greg said, speaking of Michael Jackson and Prince, this We Are the World Biggest Day in Pop Music documentary is on Netflix, is certainly worth the watch. So, I hope Netflix isn't listening. I need somebody to give me their password.
I don't know if that works anymore. I'm not sure if we can do that still.
Yeah, you know what? Netflix needs to stop. Okay, you know what
I
I mean?
know, right?
They need to stop. You know, you get the when you go into like Dick's Sporting Goods, you get the family and friends discount. So there should be a family and friends. And Tay,
Yeah.
I looked this up. I
Yep.
got rid of my cable when it
Mm-hmm.
was $69.99. I
Okay,
added
yep.
up 5 services that I use, and I was like, I'm gonna get rid of my cable. I'm gonna buy all the streaming. The streaming services, 5 of them,
Yep.
total
Yep.
$183 a month.
Wow.
So
So you might as well just
might as well get
get
cable. Again.
cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
It's even it went up a little more, Dan, because I think right now I just looked at my bill. I'm paying $153 for cable.
yeah, that's crazy. But you look at this and it's like, well, I spent $5.99 here, $72 there,
Yep.
$9.99 here, and you don't think about it, and then you go back and when I've told people, and you see their eyes like almost like I'm gonna go home and add up all my stuff, Dan, because
Right. Yeah.
you don't think about it because it's a bunch of different prices. But in actuality, you're probably spending $200 for streaming services when you cut cable when it was like 70 or $80.
Right. Right.
So,
No, I agree.
all I'm
And I
saying
thought
is,
150 was a lot.
yeah, and all I'm saying is, Netflix, throw Tay and I a bone here. So,
Yeah, man.
help,
we can sure use it.
yeah, give us a little friends and family Netflix discount. So with that being, I'll tell you this: if I ever do a comedy special on Netflix, I'm gonna go to them and be like, hey, as part of my deal, I get to give this special for free to these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So and you're not gonna have to worry about it, Tay, because you're gonna be at the show. So
I was gonna say I'm definitely gonna be there.
yeah. So
Keep me posted.
What'd you say?
I said keep me posted. I'll be there.
I definitely will, man. And Tay will see me on stage, ow, and he'll be like, I remember when he did that a couple of years ago.
I'll be in the crowd and want to crack it up.
We'll have fun as we always do. But Tay Baker here with us, Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball head coach in the 2023-24 season. Bobcat Buzz, of course, comes out to us every single month in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. You will only find it on Wake Up Call. Tay, as always, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the depth. I appreciate the laughs. And more than anything else, I appreciate your friendship and the fact that you always make time for me and you always treat me well. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir, Dan. Thank you as well, and vice versa, man. I appreciate you for everything as well, man. And Dan, I hope to see you at the home game this week or next weekend.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to make sure to get that out there, folks. You will see me there, and so I hope to see you there. February 16th and 17th, the final 2 home games for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. We look forward to seeing you out at Allen Hall's gym on the OCC campus to support your Bobcats with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse and to support Tay. And I'm going to tell you this right now. There might be a time in the game where one of the girls on the team, one of your wonderful young women, when she hits a 3, and I might just go, ow.
Just know if you do that, you got to point me out just so I know.
I'll point out, Tay. So, I'll be that guy. What is that guy in the Chappelle show? I do this all the time. I tell my buddy Isaac, I go, how much would you pay me? Like at random times when we're out, I said, how much would you pay me to just walk by the thing just going like this? The guy on the Chappelle show, where like every time something weird was going on, there was the guy doing the robot in the background. So I told him that before. I'm like, hey, if we're at a Syracuse game and they're down by 20, I'll just be like, and they were like, oh snap, there you go.
I'll go nuts, Dad.
What'd you say?
I said I'll go nuts. I'll be out there cracking up, man, if I see you do that.
Well, Tay, as always, I appreciate you, man, and appreciate our conversation and our connection and our friendship. So I'll look forward to talking with you soon. Give my best to your young one, and I look forward to seeing you shortly.
Yes, sir. Same here, Dan. Enjoy your day.
All right, you too. Take care, Tay.
All right, later.
See you. That coming from Tay Baker here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I think that's the first time that I did the robot thing that's in the Chappelle show. So, I mean, how many sportscasters do you know? Hit it. And that's all he did. It was not even like a crazy robot, but it was in so many skits that if you go back and watch Chappelle's show, you're like, oh my, I can't even believe that I didn't realize he was in like 9 different skits. Just, like whenever something was weird, he was like freaking out in the background stuff. It was cool. So, so with that being said, we're gonna jump into the ingredients to success. You got some Prince this morning. You got some Chappelle robot going on here. We're having some Cat Williams. We're having a good time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Life is good, man. So with that being stated, the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. You can get in touch with Avicolli's by calling 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And you can go and see them on site. You can go and eat there for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Of course, drink responsibly always. And they're open Tuesday through Sunday. They're closed on Mondays. So open Tuesday through Sunday on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. If you want to know where that is, it's right down the street from Liverpool High School. Hence our Liverpool exclusive Warriors sit-down broadcasts happen on site, on location at Avicolli's, because you can literally walk from the high school to Avicolli's and then back to the high school. So right there on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. So, with that being stated, to jump into the ingredients to success. The ingredients to success, today's topic, laugh a little. We just did it. Laugh a little. Because, they say laughter is the best medicine. And there's a lot of things that people will tell you in your life, and you may not fully understand them. Just like when somebody says to me, love finds you. You don't have to find it. Now, do I believe that love can find you? Yes. But people go, love happens when you stop looking for it. And it's the strangest thing to tell somebody who chases their dreams to stop looking for something. Because if I stopped chasing my dreams and I stopped putting work into my dreams, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing today. So it's atypical to tell a go-getter to not be a go-getter and to just wait for something to come get you. And the thing is I always think about, okay, well, if love finds you, you don't have to find it. All right, if you say that to the same person, then if that woman is saying, okay, I'm going to sit and wait for love, and I'm saying I'm going to sit and wait for love, how are either one of us going to find each other if we've both been told it'll find us? That's the conundrum that you're in. So, the go-getting mentality, things that people tell you like that, it comes when you least expect it. Well, another thing that people tell you is laughter is the best medicine. And you know what, folks? It really is. So, there's things that we hear in our lives where we might turn around and say, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if that really makes sense to me personally. But in most cases, I think this, I don't even want to say in most cases, I think laughter has been some of the best medicine. Somebody's like, no, Dan, the best medicine is penicillin. What are you talking about? That's the best medicine that's out there. But the best medicine to me is laughter. It is some of the best medicine you're going to find. And here's why. Because laughter helps you to relax. Laughter helps you to forget about what you're thinking about. Have you ever had a really good laugh? Your mind goes blank. It's almost like endorphins. I'm going to try and sound scientific. Endorphins are released or whatever. But it's this, when you laugh, you just kind of forget about everything, right? When you have a really good laugh, you're not thinking about the bad news you got, or this happened, or that happened, and whatnot. You're just being. When you're in a moment, in a state of laughter and enjoyment, you're just living within that laughter. You're living within that fun. You're living within this just overwhelming wave of positivity that just comes over you, and it just takes over your body for however long that you're enjoying this. And I feel like it just takes you away. It takes you to another place. And I think that we all need that. Right? I think that we all need laughter. Laughter truly is the best medicine. And what, to go a little bit farther on that, when they say, well, Dan, why isn't it penicillin? Why isn't it like an actual medicine? Penicillin's been used for so many things over the years. Laughter is the best medicine because wherever you live and whatever access you have to this, that, and whatever, you always have access to laughter, right? You always have access to just having fun, right? Enjoying your life. As hard as your life may be, in those hardest moments, sometimes you laugh the most. And it's when you need to. It's when you need to. Why do you think that people go and why do you think people listen to talk shows? Why do you think why are you watching and listening right now? If you know anything about my show, you know that I like to laugh and I like to joke around and I like to have fun. And the show is authentic, it's real. I'm the same person off the air that I am on the air. So when you're watching and listening to the show, there's an expectation of I might laugh, I'm going to think, Dan's going to talk about deep things, he's going to get into subjects, he's going to go farther than certain places might go, he's going to talk about God, he's going to talk about faith, he's going to really get to know the people that are on the show beyond wins and losses. We're going to learn things about them we're probably not going to learn anywhere else, and he's going to make us laugh. Right? There's things that you come for. When you go to a comedy show, you go to laugh. You want to sit and laugh for an hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half, whatever it may be. But you're going with an anticipation. A lot of people tell you they go to the movies to shut their brains off. They don't want a movie to be overly crazy and overly, kind of critical thinking. They want to just go and watch a movie and jump into that universe. They want to have simple concepts or maybe complex concepts told simply so that they can enjoy it, like a movie such as Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse, because those concepts are very complex. Being a fan of Spider-Man and comic books growing up and still to this day, it is very complex. And I might actually do a Superpowered Pop show about that, proudly presented by Parker Banner, Kent and Wayne Comics and Games, which is my place of choice. Literally, I will get on a plane and go to Cornelius, North Carolina, above going anywhere else because of Matt Milburn and his staff and just the awesome experience that I've had for many years at his comic book and collectibles store in Cornelius, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte on 2500 Catawba Ave, Suite A, to be exact. So when laughter being the best medicine, no matter what I've seen in my life, people going through cancer, people going through heartache, people going through a loss, people going through a breakup, people going through moving, whatever someone's going through, I pride myself on getting a laugh even in their deepest, darkest, saddest moments to get them to smile and laugh and just shake their head and be like, how do you get me to laugh when I'm sitting here crying? And that's, I love it, right? I love that. And I'm around people that get me to laugh when I'm having a very serious moment and I'm having a really tough time, and it's not, this is not to say, to not be serious and to not take life seriously. It's not saying that. What I'm saying is that life is hard. And it's hard. It just is. But that doesn't mean that you have to make it harder. Doesn't mean you have to make it more difficult, right? Life is going to present its challenge. That's why I tell people all the time, as a single man in society, I left a very toxic marriage and toxic relationships, and I won't go into a relationship that would destroy my peace. I would rather be alone than surrounded by drama and toxicity. When you kind of take a step back in your life and, there's a lot of people that like to judge out there, right? I'm 38 years old. So I'm supposed to be married. I'm supposed to have had 2 to 3 kids by now. And I'm not, because I didn't marry the right person the first time around. I didn't really listen to myself. And although we had some really great moments, it wasn't the best thing for either one of us. And we weren't aligned. So since then, there hasn't been an alignment with anybody else that was any better. A lot of cases, it was far worse. So, you have to take your time with it. And sometimes stuff like that gets frustrating. But my friends make me laugh. right? They make me laugh, and when I'm around them, I forget about, you know, that side of it of like, oh, you know, I want to be a dad, and I want to do this, and I wish I could take my kids to Disney, and I wish I could, you know, have a relationship and, you know, just have all this romance and all these things that I've always thought about as a kid. There's things that you want in life, but the things that I have in life, and I just said this to somebody recently, I laugh every single day of my life. There's never been a day, really, where there wasn't that opportunity, you know, I think. I mean, I maybe could go back to when I found out my grandfather's passed away because it was a whirlwind and I was 6. But for the most part of my life, you know, there's always an opportunity to laugh. And my friends get me to laugh. And I get them to laugh. And I like to get strangers to laugh. I love building relationships with people through laughter. And, you know, because it takes your guard down. When you laugh with somebody, you know, it brings you to a different place. And I think people want to be around that. I think people, whether they admit it or not, people yearn for people that make them laugh and smile, things that add to your day, right? And so I think laughter is the best medicine because anybody can do it, regardless of where you live, how much money you have, what type of actual medicine is at your disposal. Laughter is a way to get through things. And I thought a long time ago about this, and I still do, is when you go through adversity and pain in your life, drama, heartache, toxicity, whatever it may be, when you death in the family or with somebody that you care about, when the world hands you a whole big old bag of lemons, right? They always tell you to make lemonade. And that crossroad, right, that you come into, when you're here in the crossroad, you can choose to be depressed and anxious and sad, or you can choose to be happy and find a way to laugh through the pain. And so there's these two roads you can take. And when I went through something really tough back when I was like 18, 19 years old in college, in a relationship, you know, I kind of said that to myself. I said, okay, I have two ways that I can go with this. I can either put myself in a situation where I'm depressed and I'm down and I'm sad and I'm letting the world get to me, or I can laugh through this and find the positives, find the message in the pain and move forward. And I've been able to laugh through a bunch of things. Not that I don't take life seriously. I want to be clear about that. When people laugh about stuff in life that's serious, it doesn't mean they're not taking life seriously. It means, and in my case, I can only speak for myself, it means that, you know, it helps me get through it. When life is hard and things are negative and just difficult to work through, I find comedy. And I find that it helps me to release that pain. And it's not going to happen overnight. You know, some things take a lot of time. But when it takes that time, when you're laughing and you're enjoying your time and you're enjoying your company, it's different. And what did Greg say? Why are comedic podcasts so popular? Live comedy is in a golden age right now. People seek out humor therapy. Maybe post-pandemic behavior has boosted this. Find your comedy niche. It's absolutely beneficial. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing. I mean, I listen to comedy probably daily for the most part, and I try to create my own daily. And I did. I was having a conversation, to go back to what I was saying, I was having a conversation recently where I actually said to somebody, I was like, I laugh with my friends every day. My friends, my family. I laugh every single day. Every day. Not sometimes. I mean, I had a girl that I went out on a date where I was talking about, I guess we were like talking about going out on a date or something. And she said to me that she went out on a date with a guy who wasn't funny, who was boring, kind of just sat there. And I told her, I said, I can't picture that there's even a man that exists like that or a woman that exists like that. And, well, I should say a man from my point of view. I said, I can't even picture a man that like couldn't make you laugh. And she's, oh no, they exist. And I'm like, well, I can't picture that because my friends are not like that. I'm not like that. My family's not like that. So, we laugh, we joke around, we have a good time. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. And it doesn't mean that we're insincere because the love is there and that conversation is there, but the comedy is there. I mean, last night on the phone with one of my buddies, there was some drama and negativity. We laughed through it. Then I talked to another buddy that night. Some drama and negativity. We laugh through it. We joke about it. We go beyond it. We talk about the things that hurt, but we find a way to laugh. And, I can go up and down the list. I listen to, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle. I've listened to Cat Williams, Kevin Hart, Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, George Lopez, Joe Coy, Tom Segura. I've heard some of his, Nate Bargatze. And, there's so many different comedians, and they're all different. And they all speak on different things. And my comedy is not like theirs. There are some things I agree with, like Kevin Hart and how he doesn't like scary movies, and his response to them is similar to my response and how I don't like them. And it's funny to me, but it's the thing is like, I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing somebody else laugh. I don't need it for me, because I can make myself laugh and I can have fun, but I like seeing other people laugh. When I'm in a conversation with someone who's crying and they're down and they're sad and they're, just letting somebody control their emotions and they're just feeling it, man. And they're wiping tears from their eyes, laughing, going, I don't understand. I don't get how you can make me laugh at a time like this. And I pride myself on that. I pride myself on those moments, and I love that I'm surrounded by people that do the same thing for me. So in the ingredients to success, laughter is the best medicine because laughter is universal. It knows every language. And I see it in animals. You see it in the smiles of my dog. I see that in her too. Laughter and that comedy and that positivity, it helps with everything, and is the laughter going to get rid of the cancer scientifically? No, not scientifically. But is laughter going to create a positive attitude? And will that positive attitude create less stress and anxiety on the body? Can that help the medicine to work better? I want to believe, yeah. They say stress is a killer. How do you beat stress? Laughter. Positivity. So if stress is a killer and we can beat it with laughter, then laughter in its own way is a medicine. And I just feel like what people need to do in today's world is they need to let a comedian be a comedian. And I'm never going to stand up for racism or prejudice or sexism. That's a given. That should be a given, okay? Especially on this show, but it should be a given. That's not who I've been in 38 years plus, and I'm not going to ever be that way. So with that being a given, as a premise for this, I wouldn't go see a comedian who's just attacking people because that's not funny, right? But people do make observations. Comedy is about people, right? It's about people. It might be about animals at different times, might be about places, but might be about ideas. But comedy has to do with people. It has to do with life experiences. That's why it's funny. And I would challenge the audience to stop being so tight, right? To stop, clenching and being so tight in today's world, and to stop being offended by everything. Because the truth of the matter is you're not offended by everything. You have something inside of you that is yearning for something, and you are trying to be heard, so you're just yelling at everything that happens, hoping that one of the things will stick and somebody will care about you. You have to care about yourself. You don't need anybody else to care about you. You have to care about yourself. And I think a lot of people in today's world are attacking comedians and attacking entertainers because they want to be famous. Their 15 minutes of fame is not coming from hard work, dedication, determination, and their will. Their 15 minutes of fame is coming from attacking someone else's dedication and hard work and goodwill. So I would challenge the audience to just hear the comedy and to understand that there's a lot of thoughts that people have. So, and we share those thoughts. And when we share those thoughts, you learn that a lot of people think them. I've told jokes to people that have different religions, different political backgrounds, different sexualities, different color, different nationality, different language of origin, different this, different that. And they all laughed at my jokes because it was the universal human experience that we were talking about. And I would like for human beings to go to a comedy show without their censorship stamp and without their, trigger finger Facebook posts, and to just watch a show and realize that we all have observations about life, and comedy is observation in a comedic way. And if you're going to a comedy show to be triggered and affected, stay at home because nobody wants you there. You're going to disrupt the show. And honestly, you need the comedy show more than anybody if you're going to a comedy show to yell at the comedian because you're triggered by everything. So, the last comedy show I went to, there were people picketing outside in Syracuse. And I don't care what you believe in. They tried to scare the comedian and scare the people going to see the comedian from going inside. You were trying to destroy a person's dream over fear. And insinuating that anybody that supported this comedian, who, by the way, said nothing racial, sexual, or prejudice-wise that would make me turn around and say, this guy's got a lot of bad morals. He didn't say anything to that effect. So he didn't hurt anybody. People were trying to hurt him, scare him, make him run away. You can peacefully protest all you want, but when you lead with fear and torture, and torture can be verbal, and it doesn't have to be physical. I think when people lead with hate, that night I saw the people standing outside had hateful hearts. The person inside, he was just trying to talk about his wife and comedy and things he's experienced in his life. And just because he happened to have a certain religion, people hated him without even knowing him. So I think those people need help. And I think that you can only get help if you want it. I know people who do not take help, and that's not good. I know when I didn't take help and tried to do everything on my own, it wasn't good for me. So I'm speaking from a place of, if you have pain, you need to work it out. And if you are trying to spread fear and pain and give your pain to somebody else and yell at and scream and attack other people in front of a comedy show, you need to laugh more than anybody. You're the one at comedy show. You should be buying tickets if you're doing that. Now, we did get a message here on a somber note. Any connection with Toby Keith's music? Rip Toby. Country music just lost a modern-day country superstar. Yeah, I saw it this morning. The interesting thing is Brendan and I, and you can go to our social media and check this out. Brendan and I on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and on YouTube.com/Wake Up Call DT, where you can subscribe as well. Him and I did this thing because it was funny. I love country music, but I didn't listen to country music saying like, oh, I like this singer, I'm going to listen to this singer. I would just listen to a song and go, oh, I like this song. So I have struggled with placing singers to their songs. And Toby Keith is somebody that, his restaurant used to be at Destiny USA, and I worked with Toby Keith. They did a partnership, and I did a couple events there. So that is my connection to Toby Keith from afar. Toby Keith is somebody that number one, is way too young to pass away. It's in his early 60s. And I'm very much saddened by this news. He was 62. So it was 18 months after it was announced that he had stomach cancer. My grandfather had stomach cancer, my dad's dad. My grandpa, I call him Pop Miller. And so he passed away. Toby Keith did of stomach cancer. My grandfather did not pass away from stomach cancer, thank God. But that's the only other time that I've really heard about stomach cancer. And Toby Keith passing away, 18 months after. So this is really sad. He's another one where, he kind of, he is who he is. He, seemingly loves America, very patriotic, feels how he feels, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. He showed you who he was. And I applaud people who, in a moral, ethical, kind way, show who they are. And for him being who he is, whether you liked his music or not, Toby Keith seemed like one of those people that just really loves America. And I say loves because when you die, you're not dead. When you die, you go home. Toby Keith's up in heaven. He's playing guitar with God right now. He's sitting with Jesus playing that guitar, got a bunch of angels around him, and they're singing with him. They're singing the chorus, and he's hitting that guitar and singing in the voice that he sang in. Toby Keith is an icon in country music. He is one of the notable names. He's one of the notable voices. He's got a ton of hits. His history is vast. I would challenge people to look into him if you haven't yet and really get to know him, because I have a ton of respect for Toby Keith in the sense of the patriotic side of it. I think this country needs more of that. I think this country actually needs a Toby Keith right now to get out there and, sing some songs about loving America. And not that people don't. I'm just saying I think that Toby, to me, when I think of him, and I've looked at a couple things here recently, I think about America, and I think about getting your boots dirty, and, he's going to be missed. I think a lot of people out there that chase their dreams, and they catch them, and a lot of people have opinions, right? A lot of people have opinions on. Some people, wouldn't listen to Toby Keith's music because they don't like country, right? So like they broad paintbrush the entire thing. I don't like country music as a whole, so I'm never going to listen to Toby Keith. And then they don't understand that Taylor Swift was a country singer before she was a pop singer. And so many people listen to Taylor Swift. And would those people listen to her if she was strictly a country singer, but she came out in country and then she like transformed over into pop? And remember Jewel went into like 3 different styles of music. So, I think everybody deserves a chance. I know that not everyone's going to give everybody a chance. I think everyone should have a chance. Whether or not that happens is, that's the human, right? That's the human side of things, is some people don't want to give people a chance. But, to me, Toby Keith, he's worked so hard, and, he did a lot in his career, and I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on this because I don't want to sound uneducated in any way, shape, or form, because I didn't know Toby Keith's music as well as somebody else, and I didn't know everything that he stood for as well as somebody else. But, I could say that, Toby, there was a message that went out on his Instagram. It says, Toby Keith passed peacefully last night on February 5th, surrounded by his family. He fought his fight with grace and courage. Please respect the privacy of his family at this time. And that's, he's a country music Hall of Fame and Museum remembered Toby Keith as someone who was, quote, big, brash, and never bowed down or slowed down for anyone. His story is a distinctly American one, a former roughneck oil worker who carved out his own space in country music with a sinewy voice and an unbending will to succeed. He wrote his breakthrough songs and later formed his own record label when he felt underserved by Nashville. He relished being an outsider and doing things his way. Proudly patriotic, he didn't mind if his clear-cut convictions ruffled your feathers. For 3 decades, he reflected the defiant strength of the country music audience. His memory will continue to stand tall, end quote. End quote. They said it was announced that he was living with cancer in June 2022, and in September of last year, he spoke of the quote-unquote roller coaster experience of going through treatment. Toby Keith said, quote, you get good days, and you know you're up and down, up and down. It's always 0 to 60 and 60 to 0, but I feel good today. He said when he was speaking with E! News ahead of getting the Country Icon Award at the People's Choice Country Awards. So he kept performing through his illness, appearing live over 3 nights in Las Vegas in December, and he sang many of his 32 number 1 hits and 42 top 10 hits. He wrote on Instagram, 3 sold-out shows in Vegas was a damn good way to end the year, end quote. So, he went through chemotherapy, radiation treatment, and surgery, and the tumor had shrunk by 1/3. He was, to go back into his history a little bit, and I want to thank NBC News for this coverage. He was born in Clinton, Oklahoma, raised in Moore, a suburb of Oklahoma City. He started as a country music artist, emerging in the 1990s. He sold between 25 and 30 million records in the United States, depending on varying estimates, and his songs had more than 10 billion digital streaming plays. His most recent album was called 100% Songwriter, that came out in November of 2023. His first single, Should Have Been a Cowboy, was written in a motel bathroom in Dodge City, Kansas. Probably written on a napkin. I think a lot of us write on napkins and backs of envelopes and whatnot. That's when the best ideas come, right? When you're just walking around. So he had a self-titled debut album, came out in 1993, and went to the top of country charts in the United States and Canada, going on to be one of the most played. The song, Should Have Been a Cowboy, was one of the most played on radio throughout the 90s and beyond. His other hits, Beer for My Horses, I Love This Bar, Red Solo Cup. I know a lot of people know that one. A lot of people talk about the Red Solo Cup because of, Toby Keith. So let's take a look at this here. Greg said Taylor Swift opened for Toby Keith in Syracuse. Still got my ticket stub. There you go. Taylor also opened for Rascal Flatts the 2 times she opened at the State Fair. Yeah, because she was a country singer. People forget that. People forget history, or they just don't do their homework. And, I just, watching the kind of montage of Toby Keith, and you see kind of like the military stuff and all of that. And it's something that I want to do. I would love to go on a USO tour and, whatever. I mean, do positive speaking, comedy, pray with everybody, whatever it may be. But if I had a chance to do it, by the grace of God, I would do it. And I value people that value people. I value people that value life. And it really seems like Toby was one of those people that valued being an American and, and being someone in a free country. And so, to me, those are the things that kind of stand to me is the American flag and his guitar. And, like I said, I don't know his music as well as some other people. I never met Toby Keith, but, working at Toby Keith's in the mall and being at his restaurant, I have that connection, right, to the name. And I just really hope that his family's okay. I hope they'll be okay. I hope that, I know he's up in heaven, like I said, singing with the angels. And I hope that, he's with all of his loved ones that have already passed on. I hope his loved ones here on earth are safe and sound and with their loved ones that are here on earth. And I hope that they're all connected to each other, even in death, that Toby's with them and they're with him, even in death, because, in dying, Jesus destroyed our death, and rising, he restored our life. And by the grace of God, with laughter being the best medicine, music's also a part of that too. And I feel like music is universal. Laughter is universal, as I said before. And I feel that going to a comedy show or going to a concert are two really great ways of getting your emotion out in a positive way, in a positive and uplifting way. And so, when you're getting your emotions out positively and you're working together toward a common good, right? You're trying to heal, other people are trying to heal. There's something to be said about that. And I hope you all heal. I hope everybody watching and listening heals. I hope the ones that aren't watching and listening, that you're going to call today and say, hey, I was listening to the show, watching the show, Wake Up Call, and this guy Dan was talking about this and that, and I really think this would be good for us, so I bought us tickets to this show. We're going to go see it together because I think it would be really good for us to go do together. Or, hey, I really want to just, I'm going to pick you up today. I'll pick you up for lunch. And you get in the car and you say, hey, Toby Keith passed away. And, you remember this song and you play the song for your mom or your dad or your cousin, your friends. And, you just get around that. I feel like people need to do more of that. We need to do more of that. And I hope you do. Laughter and music, these things are very fruitful. And they can bring a lot into your life. So I pray you take a chance and put some ingredients to success into your life today. And I pray you see the dividends sooner than later. And don't give up if you don't see them right away. Because life is a journey, not a destination. The destination is the grave. Okay, that's where we're all going. So if life was about the destination and not the journey, we would miss all the living to just get busy dying. That doesn't sound like a life for anybody. So enjoy the journey. Stop thinking about the end. Think about the now. Think about okay, what can I control? Of the things that I don't have in my life, what can I bring into my life? And if I can't control bringing it in, then I have to let it go. Because if I can't do anything about it, I'm going to stress over something I can't change. I can't change people's opinions. I can't change people's thoughts. I can say and do things that might affect it. I mean, maybe I can change their opinion of me by telling them who I am, but I can't make it happen. I can just be me, but I can't force someone's opinion to change. I can't force somebody to do. I tell people all the time, the truth always comes out. The real person always comes out. What's ever in your soul, who you are at the fiber of your being, no matter who you pretend to be, the real you will always find its way to the surface. So whoever you actually are versus who you're pretending to be, the real you is going to show up. Because you can't keep the real you back forever. You can't. No actor stays in character 100% of the time. Not even the best of them. Not even the best of them. So I would tell you today that if there's something in your life that you can affect, that you have control over, that you want to fix it. And understand that when you're fixing something, it doesn't all get fixed in a second. This new studio desk that we have in here took my dad and I hours to put together. And sometimes we put it together right, and sometimes we didn't put it together right. And sometimes something looked like it was totally fine, and we found out almost toward the end that it wasn't totally together. But it's here. It's done. It looks great. It's awesome. But it took time. It took a lot of time to work together towards something good. So if you're working towards something good and it's not there yet, understand you got to put the work in. Everything that is worth anything in this life, you got to put the work in. And laughter, that helps loosen you up, calm you down, shake it off, so you can go and attack the rest of the work you have to do. So keep laughing, keep smiling, and in the beautiful words of a song that I think come from God, in my opinion, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure. That's what friends are for. In good times, in bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. So laugh, pray, go see a comedy show, go to a movie, take a break, go to a game, and just let yourself be. Because nothing's going to come to a chaotic you. And if it does, you're not going to know because you're chaotic. You have to stop being chaotic. The gift you've been begging God for might be at your doorstep today. Might be at my doorstep when I finish the show. But if I'm in chaos, I'm not even going to see it. If I'm standing in the middle of the tornado, I can't see anything but the tornado. So, laugh, relax, take a deep breath, stop being triggered by everything, be honest with yourself about the problems that are in your life, and make a plan on how to go forward. And if you need help, ask for it. And trust your gut. These are the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, right there down the street from Liverpool High School. And we have our Liverpool Warriors monthly broadcast on site, on location at Avicolli's. And I implore you to come out and see us every time we do a show, and you can find out on our social media when those are coming up. Head to Avicolli's Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. As always, drink responsibly. And, of course, for takeout, delivery, and catering, you can call 315-622-5100 for Avicolli's and go online and order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. You can go to wakeupcalldt.com, click on the Avicolli's logo, or go to the Partners tab and click on Avicolli's, and you can order off of the wakeupcalldt.com website. You can order from Avicolli's off of our site. So make sure you go to wakeupcalldt.com, check out all of our partners, including the wonderful, tasty, and absolutely beautiful partners we've had for so many years, Avicolli's, in our community for decades, serving us with great food, great experiences, and a smile. With that being stated, I thank you all for being with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, here where sports meets life, on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. However you're connected with the show, I thank you so much for being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we also have here on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. You could find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora through any one of these channels by simply searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask Alexa to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can ask your Google Home device to do the same thing, and they will do that for you as well. So make sure you check us out there, subscribe, and follow so that you never miss a broadcast again. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicolli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partners of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is fins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Dolphins during Dolphin time by going to our Wednesday broadcast, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and you'll have the Dolphins with us every Wednesday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So that's Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern time is Dolphin time. The first and third Wednesday of each month, you'll have AD and DT, as you've had for many years now, as we're here in our third year of our partnership with the Lemoyne College Dolphins. You can check them out in AD and DT, first and third Wednesday of each month, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, and every second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, a new episode of the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, future Dolphins, and alumni, as well as the administration. You can check all of them out there in our Dolphin Dive specials that air throughout the year, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. Of course, we under-promise and over-deliver, as you have the opportunity of bonus AD and DT episodes as well as Dolphin Dive episodes throughout the year as well. You can find all of this by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and when you're there, make sure you click subscribe, hit the notification bell, as well as check out our Lemoyne Dolphins playlist that's on our YouTube channel. Once again, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and we thank everybody that's subscribed already. You can also find the Dolphins by going to wakeupcalldt.com, and underneath the exclusive partners tab, you will find your Dolphins there. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com, and as always, fins up. The Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You'll find the Bobcats every single month in the Bobcat Buzz, just like we had today with Tay Baker of the women's basketball team, the head coach of the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats women's basketball team. Tay Baker here with us. We had Clay Gagan Sherman on, the men's basketball head coach, just a little while ago. And, of course, we have men's and women's soccer, baseball, and we'll be having esports joining the show, as well as they have a head coach here as they step into their wonderful competition in the digital world, in the gaming world, which I'm really excited to talk about. And, of course, Mary Hawkins has been a part of the show as well. A lot of great things coming up in the Bobcat Buzz and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse as we step into year 3 as well. You can find your Bobcats by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and make sure you click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out our playlist with the Bobcats by searching on our YouTube channel. We have our playlist, BSC Syracuse Bobcats, so you can check them out there and make sure you do that. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and as always, go Bobcats. With that being stated, here on the show, we had a message come through, so if you heard me pause at any moment, I tell people this all the time, this is why I am very happy to do a live broadcast, because I have an announcement to make. Benny Williams has been dismissed from the Syracuse men's basketball team. Everyone involved with the program wishes Benny the best. So Benny Williams, who last year was not out there I'm trying to remember now because there's been so many instances in these last couple seasons, but last season he did not play. And I remember being in the post-game press conference with Boeheim, and somebody asked about him, and he was like, "You, out of everything that happened in the game, you want to talk about the one player that wasn't even in the building?" And, because people wanted to know where Benny was. And Benny, multiple times this season, has not played. And so people have been trying to figure out what is going on. Why is he temporarily suspended? He's out, he's not out, he's out, he's not out. And now Benny Williams has been officially dismissed. So Benny is no longer a part of the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. Whatever was going on, apparently Syracuse had enough of it, and they're moving forward. So that is your news. Benny Williams, no longer a member of the Syracuse basketball team. I hope and pray the best for Syracuse basketball, for that locker room, because, removing just one person can change an entire locker room for better or worse at times. And I pray for Benny and all of his loved ones. I've always had a nice time talking with Benny. Benny's been great with me. Benny talked with me when he didn't talk with others, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he's trusted me when he wanted to talk to everybody and when he didn't want to talk to people. So thank you, Benny, for your time. Hopefully I hope we get to talk soon. And I pray that whatever's going on in your life, that things are good and get better, and that you're healthy, safe, and happy, filled with all of God's most beautiful gifts to do his will and be well, that your days are long and fun and go by slowly in a good way, that you make the best of your life, whether you're traveling, staying put, or both, that you heal from whatever's going on in your life and you handle well whatever it is, and that you're always safe and sound. So to you and your loved ones, Benny, and to Syracuse basketball and all of everyone involved and all the loved ones involved, I pray and I hope the best for you all as well. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Because whatever happens in a family, you just pray the best for everybody. I got people in my family where they don't really want to have a relationship with me, and that's fine. I still pray for them. So I hope everything goes well, Benny. He was improving. There was high hopes. And hopefully from here everything works out, Benny. So God bless to you and to your loved ones, and God bless to Syracuse basketball and all their loved ones and everyone involved. With that being said, I thank you for watching and listening to Wake Up Call this morning on all of our wonderful channels. I implore you to find us on social media, as many of you have, on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Big time thanks to my guest, Jim Ryan. First time we've ever had him on the show, as he has officially become the head coach of CNS Northstars football, and it happened last night, and we got to talk with him this morning. So the very next wake-up call that we had after his announcement, he was on. So thanks to Tim Bednarski, the athletics director at CNS, and thanks to Jim Ryan, the CNS head football coach, for making all this happen and coming together and making sure we could get him on this morning. So God bless and thank you both. I appreciate you tremendously, and always appreciate CNS and our beautiful connection we've had over the years. So thank you for that. Big time shout out and thanks to Tay Baker, part of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, is speaking with their incredible coaches. And Tay and I always have a good time. We had a ton of laughs today. We talked about adversity. We talked about tough times. We talked about all different pieces. We had the tough conversation. We had the deep conversation. We had the laughter. We had a full gamut of a wonderful conversation, as we always do. So thank you to Tay, and thank you to Bryant and Stratton College, and thank you to Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball. Big time thanks to Avicolli for the ingredients to success. Many thanks to you for watching and listening. Thanks to my mom and dad, all my friends, all the businesses that I work with, everybody that values who I am and what I do, and right back to you. And thank you to all the listeners, the viewers, and the readers. God bless you all. No stress. Do your best. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I look